Back in 1983, the Blackhawks came up short against the Edmonton Oilers. 2 years later, Edmonton came out on top again. In 1990, the Oilers had the hat trick against the Hawks in the Campbell Conference Finals. But in 1992, the Hawks are trying to rewrite the script. Chicago's hard-hitting, aggressive style has put the Blackhawks up 2-0 against the crafty Oiler team. And now tonight, the Hawks look to up the lead as they travel north to Alberta. Live from the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, it's Game 3 of the Campbell Conference Championship. The Blackhawks against the Edmonton Oilers. It's certainly hockey weather here in Edmonton. It's been snowing all day long. Even though it's a playoff time, it's certainly hockey weather outside as the Blackhawks will face an Edmonton team that does not use the word embarrassed very easily. It's a proud franchise deal that's had a lot of success, as everybody knows. They were thoroughly outplayed, and in both games in Chicago Stadium, they used the word embarrassed to describe their feelings.
Well, we talked with a lot of the experts, the so-called experts, and a lot of people from the Edmonton organization. They were embarrassed in games against Vancouver, and they were embarrassed in a game against Los Angeles, but they somehow found ways. They did not have spectacular games in those series, but they found ways of winning those games. And I think tonight, this is their season. They have to perform at their best against a red-hot Blackhawk team. It's a tough task, but the Blackhawks are going to have to be ready, and I think Ed Belfour is going to be busier than he has been in the first 2 games.
Only 33 shots is all that Edmonton mustered over 120 minutes of play at Chicago Stadium. The Hawks have had 71 shots on Bill Ranford over the first 2 games. And you talk about hot players, nobody's been playing any better than Steve Larmer. He is really at the top of his game.
Well, the 4-game sweep really helped him with a week off. Steve Larmer with a lot of speed, a lot of jump in the first 2 games. He had 4 points in against the Blues, 2 points against the Red Wings, and he's had 7 points in his first 2 games in this series. He's been a dominant factor every time he's been on the ice.
And his centerman, Jeremy Roenick, continues to shine coming off a brilliant regular season. He has also excelled in the postseason.
Well, he's a terrific individual and a great player. The Oilers, though, with home ice advantage, will get the matchups they would like. They'll probably have Tikkanen out there against them. And Mike Keenan is not too displeased with that matchup. He feels that Roenick will love the challenge of playing against Tikkanen.
Certainly part of the reason the Oilers had a lot of trouble in Chicago Stadium. Maybe the dominant defense pairing in the entire National Hockey League between Chris Chelios and Steve Smith. They lead the NHL in postseason plus-minus at a +14.
Well, and when the pressure's on, these 2 guys are at their best. They get a lot of ice time. They're out there at every critical situation in the game. And I think that's the one dimension that the Oilers don't have. They're lacking in that regard. They don't have the one great defenseman that can really get them out of trouble when they're under pressure.
Well, as far as the Edmonton Oilers are concerned, they have made their living on offense throughout the years. This is a bit of a different look to this team, but they really need better production from Joe Murphy. He's only got 1 shot on goal in the first 2 games combined.
Well, they shut down the centerman that plays on his line. They shut down the other winger, Dan Foose. So it's not just Joe Murphy they've shut down. They've shut down Tikkanen as well. All their top scorers have been shut down. Only 4 goals in their first 2 games. And they're coming from guys that don't normally score.
And speaking of Esa Tikkanen, his coach did not pull any punches. Ted Green said this guy's making a big check for his contract. He's got to live up to that.
Well, they say that Tikkanen's only performed well in 3 games in the playoffs. He's not the same player with the injured shoulder. I don't think he's really as feisty as he normally would be. I think he's still fearful of re-injuring the shoulder after surgery, and he's certainly been affected by it.
Also, certainly Vincent Damphousse is a guy they will look to light it up tonight. He had a good series against the Vancouver Canucks, but he, along with most of his mates, have been shut down against the Hawks.
Well, Damphousse has got great skills. I think the key tonight, the Blackhawks have to get off to a good start, stay out of the penalty box, so that Damphousse, Nichols, and Murphy don't get a lot of power play time and get some numbers offensively and get confidence.
Well, the Edmonton Oilers, with this bigger rink here in the Northlands Coliseum, will be looking to use some of the speed that some of those players we talked about have. And the Blackhawks will be looking to shut down the neutral zone. I think we can look for that. The similar style that they played in the first game in Detroit. You seem to confuse the Red Wings. I think Mike Keenan is going to go that way tonight.
Well, I think that's the key, obviously, to shut down their speedy wingers. And if you challenge them in the neutral zone, they did it against Detroit in the first game in Joe Louis Arena. Confused Detroit. They thought that the Blackhawks were going to do more forechecking, but they didn't. They just protected the neutral zone and their own blue line. And then they were very successful. And then the next game, they really came out forechecking. And so I think they'll employ maybe a combination of the 2 theories tonight.
This is the game of the season as far as the Edmonton Oilers are concerned. They try to keep their playoff hopes alive. They trail the series 2-0. Now they have home ice. Game 3 in just a moment.
You're watching Sports Channel, Chicago's playoff headquarters. The Hawks face Edmonton. All right, here we go now. Live from
from the stadium. Only on Hawk Vision. Order the games on Hawk Vision now. Rock your house. Call your cable company.
It's the Campbell Conference Finals. Catch Game 5 between the Hawks and Oilers Sunday at 7.
We're back! Yeah. You think I could get a gun this time?
You okay, honey?
Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, Joe Pesci, Lethal Weapon 3, rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Northlands Coliseum, where they have just hoisted another banner to the rafters, which are full of them here in Edmonton. The fans saluting the Smythe Division Championship that has been signified by a banner hanging from the rafters here in the Northlands Coliseum. And we said there have been many successes here with this franchise, winning 5 Stanley Cups in the last 8 years, but Blackhawks have them on the ropes as we get ready to start Game 3, an ultra-critical game as far as the Oilers are concerned. One of the things there, you talked about the Hawks trying to stay out of the penalty box. Ted Green has said his team has got to do a much better job of that as well. They spent 16 minutes shorthanded in Game 2. The Blackhawks were shorthanded for only 10 minutes. And too many people, when that happens to your squad, spending that much time short.
Well, it's the thing that hurt the Blackhawks in last year's playoffs. This year, the Blackhawks have done a tremendous job of staying out of the box.
Now let's enjoy both anthems.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and the bright stars through the perilous night, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. When the rocket's red glare, the bombers shaking air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to remain standing as the Edmonton Oilers proudly offer their tribute to Canada by presenting a unique rendition of the Canadian National Anthem. Would you please welcome the Oilers' honorary captain, Kurt Browning.
taking a page out of Dale Talon's skating handbook.
The only time I ever did a flip was when somebody did it to me.
Bill McCreary was the observer in Game 2 in Chicago. He will be the referee here tonight. The linesman will be Kevin Collins and Gord Brossiker.
Ed Belfour's had little work in this series. This is his 13th appearance. 10 wins and 1 loss and a 2.25 goals against average. Bill Ranford, brilliant. 8 and 6, 3.21 goals against average and a save percentage of .901. Stopped 41 of 45 shots in Game 2.
I'll tell you, Dale, Bill Ranford was not shy about giving a little jab to his teammates after Game 2 as well, talking about being surprised how few of them showed up for both of those games in the stadium. And really, he was hit for 12 goals in 2 games, and he was spectacular. That's how much domination the Hawks had in the first 2 games of that series. But now we're in Edmonton, and the Oilers in a very critical situation here tonight. They open up with Semenov against Sutter for the draw, and the puck is controlled by Telio, working it into the Edmonton zone. Telio peels off and center. Here's Smith right in, and a save by Ranford. Right off the get-go, Steve Smith right open in the slot now. Matteau for Graham. Ranford stops him, rebound, and Ranford, and the shot goes wide. Matteau had another crack at him, and the Oilers with a problem in the early going, but now they come out of there with it. Here's Manson over the line, but he missed Tikkanen with a pass. And Chelios cleared it to the left wing board. Brent Sutter took a bump from McIver. Puck comes loose in behind the net. Semenov crashing into Chelios. Jammed it loose, but Chelios recovers it beautifully. And Chris Chelios, a one-hand pass to center where Sutter shoots it in, and Chicago heads for James. McIver for Edmonton. Banks it right to Larmer. Larmer on the far side shooting. Oh, he hits the arm of Ranford. It deflected up into the crowd. Steve Larmer got all of that. And Ranford got a piece with his left arm. And now behind the Oiler net, Goulet seems to have drawn some attention from McTavish. And the linesman very quickly in there to pull him apart.
Well, a great start for the Blackhawks. The first shift, a flurry of saves for Ranford. Chris Chelios starting it off, and the Hawks really catching the Oilers by surprise in the first shift. The shot, the save. Steve Smith robbed by Ranford. Then the rebound to Matteau, who got it to Graham. Graham let it go. Ranford made the save, had no idea he had made the save. Then Matteau on the rebound with him down and out, shot it wide. Brent Sutter thought it was a goal. He put his arms up after he cut in front of Ranford, and then Ranford gets clipped in the left shoulder on that blast from Steve Larmer's stick. Larmer, 13 goals and 18 playoff appearances against the Oilers' lifetime.
A total of 14 shots on goal for Edmonton in Game 2 ties their team low as far as shots in a playoff game. They were held to 14 in the game earlier this year against Vancouver, and the Hawks yielding only 14 shots in the stadium the other night. And the Oilers have never had fewer than that in a postseason game. Here's Larmer, and a poke it out of the corner. He did. Steve Larmer gets a pick from Goulet, but his pass rolled loose. And Buckberger cleared it ahead. Here comes McTavish. Keith Brown cut him off nicely. And now Kravchuk works his way back to center and cranks a long shot that ran for glove and leaves for Lowe. Kevin Lowe clearing it back the other way. It slides the length. It'll be icing here against Edmonton. With just a minute and a half gone by in the first period of Game 3.
Hey, Michael!
You can play basketball, but can you dance?
Yeah, I can dance. Who says I can't dance?
Can you sing?
In the bathroom? Oh, yeah. Luther Vandross in my voice, very similar in the bathroom.
What kind of music do you like?
I love mellow music like this. I mean, you ever listen? Great sound system, huh?
Do you really drive a Blazer?
I do.
Have fun with it.
Boston Bruins won 10 games in a row in 1970. The Blackhawks have won 9 in a row.
The Hawks trying to tie an NHL record. They already have set their own franchise record for consecutive wins, and that's at any time, not just in playoffs. They've never even won 9 in a row in regular season competition. But now they have coming into this game tonight. Oilers won 12 straight over 2 playoff seasons. The record for 1 year of consecutive wins is 10, and the Hawks have an opportunity to equal that tonight. Here's Chelios in the deep slot over to Smith. Far point, his long shot hits somebody in front to Danfus. And Vincent Danfus looks for Nichols. Bernie Nichols works his way to center. Smith trying to cut him off. Nichols cuts away, then shoots one, and Chelios in the way of that. Got the shot blocked. Then Graham tied up in the corner, dug out of there by the Oilers. Danfus, his shot, and he shot it up off the glass. And it's held in at the near point now. Murphy along centering pass. They score! Nichols and Danfus both took a whack at it as the puck laid loose outside the goal crease. And the Oilers lead for the first time in Game 3. They did have a lead in Game 2, but after a couple of great saves by Ranford, now Edmonton strikes.
Murphy to the front of the net with Danfus and Nichols. Nichols was in front, tied up by Steve Smith. The backhand dump towards the crease, deflected off Smith, and I think Nichols beat Danfus to it with a quick hand. Smith seemed to have him tied up, but Nichols was able to beat him to the puck.
Now Glenn deep in his own end. There it is to Luke Richardson. Now Danfus. Got it out to center ice. And Bernie Nichols does get the goal. That's the 8th playoff goal for Nichols. Murphy and Richardson get the assist at 2:08. Here's Roenick into the Oilers zone. And a rough ride into the corner. Keith Brown in there after it, and David Haley stepped into him, and the puck rolled right into the goal crease, and Ranford covers it up. The Oilers there were much more involved physically in Game 2, even though they didn't generate much offense. And here tonight, they're off to a very physical start.
Well, this is their season, Pat. They have to win this game if they have any thoughts of continuing on to the finals once again. Steve Smith has Nichols. The puck deflects off him, and then Nichols is able to get to it before Smith could wrap him up. And while one-on-one situation, Dave Manson, very good one-on-one with that straight arm. And he roughs up Jeremy Roenick, and then a good hit by David Maley inserted in the lineup because of the injury to Scott Mellenby, who blocked the Steve Smith shot in Game 2 and limped off.
Well, the face-off will be in the Oilers zone as Roenick stays out there with Lemieux and Peluso for Chicago. McTavish, Lamb, and Buchberger for Edmonton. These 3 on the ice for the Oilers drew some praise from Ted Green. Of course, there has not been a lot to be excited about as far as the Oilers are concerned, but these 3, McTavish, Buchberger, and Lamb, Ted Green was saying if everybody else played as hard as they did the first 2 games, Edmonton would be in better shape. Here's the draw taken by Norm McIver. McIver works his way to center ice, clearing for McTavish over the line, in on Russell. Here's a backhander over Belfort, made the save. Then Peluso carried it back to center and shot it in. Dave Manson brings it around the boards. Russell trying to keep it in, did to Lemieux. Lemieux got away from McIver, cuts for the net, shoots. Ranford, good save with the right pad. Rebound to McTavish. McTavish 3-on-3 fakes the shot, then chipped it in as he peels off for a change. And Marchment gave it to Peluso on the right side. He clears it to the neutral area. Peter Klima trying to move back. Russell poke checked him. And Marchment, a big hit, really leveled an Oiler along the board. Semenoff cleared back into the Edmonton zone. And shot to center where Chelios will put it back in. Kevin Lowe. Or Essa Tikkanen on left wing. Tikkanen clearing to Klima. Peter Klima standing still, had it taken away, and Ryan Noonan looking to advance, unable to do so. whistle forward at center ice. Neither team able to gain full possession. Finally, Semenoff gathers it in. Carries it over the Chicago line. Semenoff ran out of room. Shot it in behind the net. Lowe got away from Chelios. Here's Lowe with a wraparound. And a save by Belfour. Rebound to Chelios. And Chris Chelios bearing to center and Stu Grimson. Lifting it in there. And the Hawks completing a player change. As the Oilers look to start back. Here comes Nichols. Wide open at center. Nichols steps over the Hawk line. Stops on the near side. Keith Brown tied him up. Richardson posted loose. Nichols battling with Mateau along the boards. Now Dirk Graham looking to clear but couldn't get it out. Back of the net goes Smith. Steve Smith. To the head. Here comes Mateau. Shooting it in, hoping for Graham. He might get there. Nichols, good play defensively. Then Mateau got to it. Up on Mateau looking to center. Deflects away from Sutter, who chases into the corner after. Put it in behind the net. Ranford beat Graham there. And now the Oilers, Nichols for down Foose, who failed to get it out. Graham in the deep slot. His long shot deflected wide. Goulet picks it up in the corner. Center, too hot to handle for Sutter. Now Keith Brown trying to bank one off the end boards of the front of the net. Good idea, but they got a bad carom. And the Oilers clear it back into Chicago territory, and Kravchuk will play it. Here comes Roenick. He went down at center. And on a delayed offside call, the whistle sounds. 14 minutes remaining in the opening period in the Northlands Coliseum. 1-0 Oilers.
If you're using a credit card to get a cash advance, you're probably getting soaked, because ordinary cards charge you interest right from day one, which is why you should use the Discover card. Just pay your full monthly balance and a small transaction fee, and we'll give you cash, interest-free, so you can avoid taking a bath. It pays to Discover.
Physical start, a very fast pace to the early going here. Tikkanen and Hudson doing some battle along the near board between the benches. And then Kevin Lowe in deep in the offensive zone. Up front in the wraparound. Ed Belfour was confused. He wasn't quite sure where Lowe was. Stayed up against the far post and finally came to the near side. Went down early, and the wraparound attempt by Lowe almost went up and over him, such as McTavish's shot the last game.
McIver tries to flip it in. Marchman picked it out of midair, though, and Roenick looks to feed Larmer, but Mark Lamb had grabbed his stick. And now the Oilers regaining possession. Buckberger looking for McTavish, and Russell had in well covered. Now Marchman deep in his own end. On the board for Roenick. Dave Manfred in deep on him, and the Hawks have to fire it back the other way. And it's going to be an icing call here against Chicago. Bernie Nichols' goal has the Oilers out in front.
Clean. Old Spice. It puts the wind in your sails.
Very few whistles in the early going. An excellently played period. Physical period. No penalties. 5-3 the shots in favor of the Blackhawks. Ranford's had the tougher shave, but it's Bernie Nichols that has put it into the net for the first time. 2:08 the goal coming from Murphy. And Richardson as well got the second assist.
David Bailey making his first appearance of the series is on there against Sutter for the draw. Bailey, Jelena, and Mellenby for the Oilers. Sutter, Mateau, and Graham for the Hawks as Lowe bounces one toward the net. It was deflected wide. On the near side, a lot of banging, crashing as Jelena gave Chelios a tough time, and the Hawks defenseman came back at him with a stick. And now Smith Goes up the middle to Sutter. And Sutter banked it too far for Graham. And the Oilers trying to start and finish their checks very aggressively here in the early going. This by far the best Edmonton has looked in the series. Kevin Lowe steps over the Hawk line, weaving to the near side. There's going to be a Hawk penalty. Lowe centered it. Here's Maley. And a save by Belfour, and he holds on. And some pushing and shoving around the Chicago net, but Kevin Collins was there very quickly. And it looks like it'll be just the one minor coming up here. The fans are roaring, and so are the Oilers. They go to the power play with a 1-0 lead.
We'll be sending you back to Pat and Dale in Edmonton in just a moment, but here's what we've got coming your way during the first intermission. Of course, we'll check in on how the White Sox are doing out at Comiskey Park against the Kansas City Royals tonight. Dale is scheduled to have a visit with Brent Sutter. We'll talk to the Hawks centerman, probably about winning a lot of face-offs, which Brent has been very good at during the series. We'll also get you caught up on our schedule of upcoming Hawk games. It's all during the first intermission here on the Sports Channel Report. Now let's send you back to Edmonton. Here's Pat Foley and Dale Palin.
Stefan Matteau is going to get the original penalty at 7:17. Kevin Lowe streaks in. Jelena was yanked down by Matteau. David Maley gets the loose puck all alone in front. Belfour makes his best save on a delayed penalty call, and then some pushing and shoving after the whistle. Offsetting minor penalties as a result to Graham and Mellenby. But the Edmonton Oilers will get their first power play of the night. They're 0 for 10 in this series. Two guys on Jelena, enabling Kevin Lowe to carry the puck in. Lowe trying to take things in his own hands offensively as a defenseman. A couple of times in this period already he's been deep in the offensive zone.
Nichols, Murphy, and down Foose for the Oilers with McIver and Manson. McIver replacing Tikkanen here as a point man, at least in his first power play opportunity for the Oilers. Hawks have Brent Sutter with Steve Larmer out there along with Kalios and Smith. Here's the draw taken by Smith. Murphy hounds him in the corner. Poked loose along the boards. McIver kept it into Nichols. Nichols lost the handle to Smith. Then he bounced it over McIver's head. The other way. Here's Larmer racing. McIver better hurry, and he did. Just barely beat Larmer to that loose puck. Or McIver. Clears it ahead. Here comes Murphy. Well, Murphy gets the Hawk line. Clearing it around the boards. Kalios with time behind the net. Tried to clear it, but he hits Smith, and then the Oilers keep it in. Now on the far side, here's Murphy taking a look. Well, Murphy to the corner, down Foose. They exchange positions. Down Foose put it to Manson, top of the ring. His shot blocked by Larmer, who clears.
In the first possession, Kalios hit his own defense mate. The Oilers were able to keep it in, but they couldn't put any pressure and get a good chance at Belfour. Finally, on the second attempt, Larmer was able to clear it.
A minute for the Oiler power play as Nichols peels off on the far side. Sets it up on the Edmonton power play. Now cranks the shot. Just up off the glass. I think Belfour got a piece with the shoulder, and it eventually deflected into the crowd.
Bernie Nichols had 4 power play goals in the first series against L.A. He still has 4 power play goals, but he has 8 overall. Joe Murphy leading the NHL in scoring with 24 points. Has had 1 assist, though, in this series and only 1 shot. 2 assists, including the one tonight, but only 1 shot on goal in the first 2 games. Joe Murphy talking about the fact that he needs to get the puck earlier than he's been getting it. And in the smaller neutral zone at Chicago Stadium, he was unable to get really motoring with the puck. He said he'd like to pick it up deeper in his own zone and get mobile up the ice with it.
Now it's Maley, Semenoff, and Klima for the second part of the Oiler power play. And David Maley along the near side works against Smith, trying to put it in behind the net. Elios chopped it loose, and it's centered, and Klima's shot deflected up high. Semenoff out to the far point. Tikkanen's long wrist shot sailing wide. Klima in the near corner with it. Got a rough ride from Kalios. Puck loose, and the Hawks Sutter able to clear it. One more rush on this Oiler power play is Esa Tikkanen sends Brian Blinn to center ice. Long feed to Semenoff, who steps over the line, dropped it to Bailey, cutting in there, shooting. Blocked nicely, and then Belfour's on the rebound. Shot wide, then Klima centered. Brown up and on his own net. Keith Brown tried to steal that pass, and it deflected right on, and Belfour had to be alert, and he was.
Belfour came out to challenge a shot by Maley. Maley had lots of time and room, but took a long backswing and a long time to let the shot go. That enabled the Hawk defenseman Smith to deflect it, I should say Kravchuk to deflect it, and almost trickled by Belfour. He was anticipating a much harder shot. Kravchuk is able to recover and deflect it. Belfour almost overplays it, flips it up front, gets to Klima to the near side. Klima tries to go up front and hits Keith Brown, and almost went past Belfour and into the net. So Belfour getting a feel for the puck in this first period, making some good saves, and that's got to help his confidence, as he appeared to be fighting it in game 2. 2 seconds still remaining on the power play.
Most goaltenders, Dale, seem to think that it may be even tougher to be sharp with very little or no work than it is when you're being peppered the way Ranford was.
Well, I think that's definitely the case. That appeared to be the problem for Belfour in the first 2 games.
It does not look like that's going to be a problem tonight. The Oilers are rolling here early. Here's the draw to Kevin Lowe with a shot that's blocked by a diving Goulet, but Lowe held it in. And then just out of the box, Graham makes the steal. Dirk Graham into the Edmonton zone, trying to leave for Goulet. McTavish kicked it loose, and Lowe pushes it into the neutral area. Now the Oiler captain Lowe able to flip it back into Chicago territory, and Keith Brown starts the Hawks back. Up the right side to Graham. Back to Brown. He shoots it in there. Craig Muni is on it. Gave it to Lowe. Threw it up the near side, and a good hit from Hudson, allowing Rob Brown to keep it in. Lowe knocked him down. The play goes on as McTavish tries to start Edmonton back.
And McCreary has really missed one here. Brown was tackled by Manson. He let it go, and now there's going to be an elbowing penalty called on Dave Hudson, or on Mike Hudson, I should say.
Edmonton, with the lead, will head back to the power play. It's 1-0 Oilers.
Looks great. But come on, I mean, you know, you could have gotten yourself another BMW or a Lexus.
I suppose. But why? This had everything I wanted. Power, great handling, ABS.
Yeah, but
airbag, leather, everything. I couldn't see spending $10,000, $20,000 more for what?
Who makes it?
Pontiac.
Now at your Pontiac dealer with special Smart Buy financing, you can buy a new Bonneville for just $379 a month.
Mike Hudson gets a penalty. Starts things off with a good hit. Brown picks the puck up. Kevin Lowe just tackles. Brought Brown to the corner. No penalty. McCreary looked the other way, and then Hudson, with an attempt to hit an Oiler player, missed him, but gets an elbowing call. And the Oilers, with a 1-0 lead, will get their second power play.
So again, Nichols, Murphy, and Donfus step on. In the Edmonton zone that McTavish got the elbow from Hudson. Here's the draw. Taken by Donfus, looking to feather one in front. Smith whacked it out of midair away from Murphy, and Steve Smith able to clear it. McIver almost had it stripped away by Larmer, but able to bang it away. And here's Murphy trying to wind it up. And the Oilers will get their breakout set up again. Here comes McIver. On feed to Murphy. He gets the line, putting to Nichols. The pass at his feet, stolen away by Smith. Steve Smith getting the raspberries from the fans who once cheered him lustily. But he's wearing a different colored sweater now. Here come the Oilers back. Donfus has the line on Smith into the corner. Had to shoot it around the boards. Taken off the boards by Noonan. Sending it down the other way.
Good play by Steve Smith on Donfus. A very dangerous offensive player. He just forced them wide and created the turnover.
Ranford gave one away to Noonan, to Graham, who tries to center it. Noonan too well covered. Here comes Donfus. 3-on-2. Down Foose gets the Hawk line to the near side, tees it up, fakes, then dropped it back, and he missed everybody with the pass. Edmonton with a power play for another 40 seconds as they dump it in.
And the Hawks are very lucky, Pat. They had 5 guys on the ice. Should have been too many men on the ice, but it was ignored.
Tikkanen goes up the middle to Scott Mellenby. Keith Brown, a good play to take him off the puck. Mateau chopped at it, unable to clear it. Now back into the Hawk zone it goes. Belfort into the corner. Trying to clear it, hit an Oiler player, and Babcock in front of the net. Whacked it out of harm's way, and the Hawks clear it. That's going to do it for the Chicago penalty. Both teams are now back at full strength as the Oilers clear it from their own end of the ice down the length, and the icing call will be made here against Edmonton. It's still snowing in Edmonton. The Oilers lead the Hawks 1-0.
Hey, Bobby Bonilla, where does New York's favorite son play?
In your face.
Rick Pitino, where can I catch a Kentucky Wildcat?
In your face.
Yo, Charles Mann, where's a Super Bowl winner on Sunday nights?
In your face.
ESPN, your face. Sports fans turn to ESPN first because great sports are always
in your face. In your face. In your face.
ESPN, ESPN, your face.
The Blackhawks dodge another bullet. 2 power plays in the early going for Edmonton. Now they're 0 for 12. There's the man advantage. Great penalty killing by the Blackhawks once again. They're terrific all through the regular season. And they've been very solid in the playoffs.
The Oilers getting nary a shot on that particular power play opportunity. As Cam Russell plays in the neutral zone. Puts it right to Kevin Lowe. Bounces around his center ice. And Roenick comes out of there with it. Gets over the Oiler line. Roenick dropped it for Goulet. He put it to Larmer. Here's the shot. He shot it just wide of the far post. Mark Lamb, the loose puck in the corner. Up the board to Lowe. Now Kelly Buchberger's pass deflecting. Carried down though by Lamb. He got away from Marchman. 2-on-1. Cutting in Lamb for McTavish. He scores. Craig McTavish. As Ryan Marchman was victimized in the neutral zone. And the Oilers lead 2-0.
Ryan Marchman has this habit of going at the player, going forward, challenging with no support. And he challenged and got beat outside the line. Lamb with Russell, the lone defenseman, and Russell overplayed it over to McTavish, the one-timer, and into the net. And Mike Keenan is up on the bench. I don't know what he's arguing about or what he's upset about, but one-timer by McTavish, and it's 2-0 Edmonton. McTavish's second goal, or third goal of the playoffs. Took him 11 games to get his first goal, a short-handed goal in Game 6 against Vancouver. He scored on a wraparound attempt in Chicago and scores on the feed from Mark Lamb after he victimized Marchman at the Hawk blue line.
Lamb and Buchberger get the assist at the 13-minute mark. And now Jelena works his way over the Hawk line. Steve Smith cut him off there nicely, gave it to Chelio. And now ahead to Dirk Graham. Bouncing it into the Oilers zone. Luke Richardson. And now Brent Sutter's been knocked down. And the Blackhawks are going to get their first power play chance of the game. As Richardson and Graham have a stare down, but the linesman there very quickly. Hawks get their first power play. They trail 2-0.
Some people just know how to fly.
Flying?
Flying?
I'll show you how to fly.
Let a goal and they aim it high.
Excuse me? This is flying.
You guys call that flying?
Maybe. They call that flying. Wrong. Northwest is flying.
Fly Northwest. 47,000 people bringing you the best on-time performance in the country.
Sutter tries to go through the middle. He's knocked down by 2 other players, and it's Brian Glynn that gets the penalty. Only at 13:32 for interference. The Blackhawks will go to their first power play. They were 1 for 9 in the last game, and they're 2 for 13 in this series overall. Power play is 13 for 81, 16%. Well, trailing 2-0, they need to capitalize on this man advantage opportunity.
Here's the draw taken by Muni. Muni on the backhand. Clears it down all the way. Jeremy Roenick. Able to bang it into the Oilers zone, and Tikkanen able to pick it up, hoisting it on the backhand. Down the lane. Igor Kravchuk starts the Hawks back, beating Goulet up the right wing boards. He fires it around into the Edmonton zone, but Ranford picks it off, and Edmonton clears it. Kravchuk ahead to Goulet over the line, looking for Sutter. He couldn't hold the pass on a Manson defensive play, and again the Oilers fire it down all the way. Minute has gone by with the Hawks not even being able to set up in the offensive zone on the power play. Now Sutter, Noonan, and Rob Brown out there for Chicago, and here's Brown over the Oiler line. Trying to feed the trailer. Smith had bounced away from him. Tikkanen cleared it to the neutral area. Steve Smith's pass deflected, and Richardson puts it back the other way. Oiler fans. Now Noonan sending it too far for Sutter. Manson cleared. Off power play. Awful. The Edmonton penalty killing just outstanding. Every dump in the Hawks tried on this power play. Chicago forwards were held up beautifully by the Edmonton penalty killers, and there was never any trouble for the Oilers on this power play, which is now over.
You've got to diversify. You've got to start to try different things. You just can't keep dumping it in. This team is too aware of what you're going to do.
So it's still a 2-0 Oiler lead as Hudson tries to move in there. Got away from Muni, but not Nichols. And Bernie Nichols had his pass stolen by Cam Russell. He flipped it in and flipped it too high. It sails over the glass into the crowd.
Every opportunity on this last power play, they tried to dump it in. They didn't try to carry it in and set up. You got to mix it up. Blackhawks did not get one good chance at Bill Ranford, trailing 2-0 in the last minutes of play here in the first period. The Oilers a very spirited start with a 2-0 lead, but they did have a 2-0 lead in game 2, but it was a different situation. They had 3 shots on goal and scored twice. And Bill Ranford was brilliant the rest of that game.
McCreary getting an earful from Mike Keenan. Now comes to have a chat with him at the Hawk bench. And Ted Green was up behind the Oiler bench saying, hey, that's enough of that. Let's go.
Keenan having a problem with McCreary as far as the last line change, and it must be something to do with having his arm up at the right time or not.
Now the draw controlled by Kevin Lowe. Gave it to Craig Muni, and we have an Oiler player down. David Maley is down. The Hawks are going to be short-handed again. And Maley's been cut. This looks like it could be a major. David Maley bleeding. It looked as if he might have had a leg problem as he tried to stagger to his feet, but he's been cut. And Jocelyn Lemieux got the lumber up, and it certainly appears as if it will be a major penalty against Lemieux and the Hawks. Let's see what McCreary decides to do here.
Lemieux with a one-handed slash at him, and that's got to be a 5-minute penalty.
Got to.
And the Blackhawks in big trouble, down 2-0, and they're going to be shorthanded for 5 minutes, and Lemieux will be gone for the rest of the game. That's the right call.
Absolutely the correct call made by McCreary there at 16:07, a 5-minute high sticking penalty, and the automatic game misconduct to Jocelyn Lemieux. And the Edmonton Oilers with a 2-0 lead now will finish this period on the power play. And a chance to really put some distance between themselves and the Blackhawks. I said earlier, Dale, this is the best that the Oilers have looked by far in this series. The operative word to me, as far as the Oilers are concerned, hungry.
Well, this is their season. They have to win. They have to be at their best. They can't relax and wait for the Blackhawks to dictate the pace.
Every Oiler that's been on the ice tonight, very involved physically. They've been looking after their checks, finishing their checks to this point in the game. Now they head to the offense with a 5-minute power play. Nichols tries to pick his way in, couldn't do it. And Larmer tied up in the corner. Nichols has lost his stick, then Downfoos dug it out of there. Out to the line, Manson. Bounce one to Downfoos. Centered it, Nichols picked out of midair, then shoots. Oh, what an effort by Nichols. The puck was on edge, though, and he shot it wide. Now Manson for McIver. McIver sends it around the board. Downfoos and Murphy both behind the net. Nobody in front for Edmonton. Now Downfoos has it. Chips it out to the line. Manson is there. Into the corner. It missed Murphy on the carom. Pete Brown chopped it, looking for Larmer. He's knocked down. The Oilers keep it in. Now Murphy along the near board. Left it for a wide open Nichols. He centered it. Here's Manson. Let's it go. And a save by Belfour. Rebound into the corner. Big collision between Kravchuk and Nichols. Then Murphy got the puck. Joe Murphy doubles it ahead to Downfoos. Back to the line, Manson. And now Downfoos again. And he tries to feed the point man, but missed McIver. And two exhausted units will scurry for some changes here. Semenoff lost it to Mateau from behind. Mateau gets into the Oilers zone. Mateau shot it around the boards. Russell on the far point with it. Tees it up and shoots. That's blocked. And Russell shot another one. And I'm not sure Ranford saw that. It just missed the near post. Now Tikkanen calming things down for the Oilers. 2 minutes to go in this period. The entire 2 minutes will be played on the power play by Edmonton. Here's Tikkanen. Near point to Richardson. Goes into the corner for Tikkanen, whose pass hit the back of the net. Now Marchment tied up by Semenoff. Failed to clear it. Here's Tikkanen trying to center it. Klima! And he shot one off the side of it. Now a drive, and Russell got the shot blocked on the attempt from Semenoff.
Cam Russell was yanked down from behind by Tikkanen, but that was let go. Marchment goes over to discuss that. No call. Bernie Nichols, a much better performance tonight than the first two games in Chicago Stadium. Nichols and Brown with a battle, and Brown with a cross-check after Nichols had lost the stick. Then he goes back and picks up his stick. Nichols, with the good hands, picked it up, picked the stick up, picked the puck up, and made a pass. And the Oilers had a good scoring chance because of his second and third effort. Tikkanen to Klima, and Klima's shot stopped by Belfour. The rebound out front to Semenoff, and his shot inadvertently hit Cam Russell.
Now it's in the Hog zone. McTavish in the corner. Field off, got away from Talios, trying to stuff it in, and Belfour shut the door and covers it up. There's a minute and a half remaining in the opening period. Craig McTavish does not have a huge number of stats offensively, but Ted Green would not want to play without him.
He's a very valuable asset. Penalty killer, defensive specialist, wins faceoffs, and not afraid to mix it up. That time Lamb went into the crease with Goulet. And Lamb did a good job of setting a pick on Goulet and Belfour, enabling McTavish to try and stuff it.
McTavish, Lamb, and Buckberger with Flynn and Tikkanen now to go for the Oilers on the power play as the draw goes right to the net, and Belfour will hold on to it there. of the period, 1:25 left. Sutter and Graham for the Blackhawks with Marchment and Russell. Here's the draw. Marchment able to clear it down all the way. Offside with Buckberger, and the whistle sound.
Marchment's going to be familiar with the Edmonton style, having played in Winnipeg last year. Getting some ice time in the penalty-killing role as the Blackhawks are short-handed for the third time in this period. Still 1:06 to go in the period. 2:13 overall in the 5-minute major to Jocelyn Lemieux.
Now the draw, and Brian Noonan clearing it down all the way. We're into the final minute of the period. Here's a Larmer steal from McIver centering, and McIver recovered to pick the pass off. Now down Foose. Carries it over the Hawk line. Down Foose. Shooting it around the boards. Murphy in the far corner got a bump from Russell, and Murphy able to hang on to it. Joe Murphy leads it in the corner for Don Foose. Weaving to the top of the ring. Don Foose for Murphy, side of the net. Moves it back to the line. McIver got it into the corner. Now Nichols behind was beaten to it by Marchment, and he failed to get it out. Here's Manson at the near point with a long shot. Belfort the save, gave a rebound. Don Foose centered it, picked off. And Russell able to clear it.
Good play by Steve Larmer. Otherwise, it's 3-0. Larmer collapsed in behind Russell and got the stick on the pass.
And the Oilers try to move in. Manson cranks along one that Belfort stops, and that's going to do it for the first period. A very intense Edmonton Oiler team in the opening 20 minutes here tonight, and they have grabbed a 2-0 lead.
The Blackhawks not giving up a goal so far in the 5-minute power play, and who knows, that can be a momentum shifter. Granted, Edmonton has the big chance to get a 3-0 lead, but so far the Blackhawks have held, and Edmonton will have 1 minute 7 seconds left on the power play when we return for the second period. Through 20 minutes of play, the Blackhawks are trailing 2-0. Here's how the Edmonton Oilers got the 2 goals that put them ahead. They were both even-strength goals. First one, Joe Murphy goes to Bernie Nichols. Nichols' 8th goal of the playoffs. The Oilers had a lead of 1-0 at 2:08 of the first period. Then at the 13-minute mark, Brian Marchment goes for the hit, and Mark Lamb goes by, and Lamb feathers a perfect pass to Craig McTavish. He beats Belfort. McTavish's 3rd goal of the playoffs. Edmonton 2-0 over the Blackhawks at the end of 1 period of play. Buckberger getting the assist on the McTavish goal. Luke Richardson gets an assist on the goal by Bernie Nichols. As for shots on goal through the first 20 minutes of play, no surprise, the Oilers really came out aggressively, and they have a 13-6 edge in shots on goal through 1 period of play. We've got much more to come in this intermission. Oilers lead it over the Hawks in Game 3, 2-0 after 1.
Spotlight is rolling into Chicago.
He gets knocked down. Here's a 5-on-3 Oiler rush, and then they misfire at center ice. Then Nichols carried on to the line, shooting, and a save by Belfort. Rebound to Kravchuk. The Hawk penalty is over, and Chicago has gotten through a 5-minute Edmonton power play without giving a goal. Back behind the Oiler net, Hudson's hustling, and as a result, Bill Ranford will go down and cover it up and take a whistle. We're just underway in the second, still 2-0 Oilers.
Not many things are more Chicago than United, but there are a few. United. Proud to fly more Chicagoans than any other airline. Come fly Chicago's hometown airline. Come fly the friendly skies.
Well, a very big penalty-killing situation for the Blackhawks. They're shorthanded for 9 minutes in the first 21 minutes and 21 seconds. The Oilers are 0 for 13 with a man advantage, and the Blackhawks down by 2 goals needed to come through in a big way, and they did. Now, sometimes a 5-minute power play can turn the game around. If you score a couple, obviously, it helps your cause, but if you don't score, you give the penalty-killing momentum.
Lowe is in deep behind the Hawk net, but Matteau was there to steal it. Stefan Matteau, nice feed to Roenick. He danced away from Buchberger, putting Larmer over the line, trying to get it back. Roenick gets to it on the near side. Mark Land stepped into him. Roenick held the puck and centered, and he missed Larmer with it. Now the Oilers start back. McTavish carries it over the Hawk line. Kravchuk able to get his way. They crash into the corner, and Matteau comes up with it. Stefan Matteau to Steve Larmer on right wing at center. Dumps it in, hoping for Roenick. But Lamb was there first. And Roenick yanked down as he tried to catch Lamb, and the play goes on. Now the Oilers dump it in. Steve Smith gave it to Chris Chelios. Now out to center and Sutter. He dumps it in. Goulet on the near side leaves it for Smith. They get into the corner, and MacIver got it out to the neutral area. Dump it back in, and the Oilers, Manson, and Tikkanen into center. That's it, Tikkanen in over the Hawk line on Smith, stopping. His shot is blocked by Smith beautifully. And now Steve Smith beats Brent Sutter. Sutter carries it to the Oiler line, left it for Graham. His long shot deflects back to center. The Oilers flip it ahead. Chelios. Got it to Graham. He's forced to turn. And he cleared it for Paluso, and he got a rough ride from David Maley, who saw that play develop and clobbered Paluso when the puck got there. Ryan Noonan in his own end. Looks for Chris Chelios. Fires a dump in to the near side. Muni bounces one back to center right. Here comes Challenor over the Hawk line, left it for Mellanby, shooting, blocked by Chelios. Mellanby tries to jam it loose, but Cam Russell got to it. And Russell got help from Brian Noonan. Now Rob Brown pushing it into the Oilers zone. Here's Scott Mellanby. Martin Challenor. Bring it back into the center ice area. Noonan was knocked down there by Lowe. The Hawks able to dump it in. Hudson's going to get to it. Shoots one. And it's deflected, I think, off the stick of Muni up high. Marchman holds it in. His shot. That missed the net. Here's Matteau trying to shoot, and Ranford a stand-up save on that. And behind is Hudson. Working against Lowe. Mike Hudson Centerton. His shot deflected wide. And the Oilers having trouble in this shift in their own zone. Finally Lowe able to clear it to the neutral area. Igor Kravchuk walks right back over the Oiler line. He's taken off the puck by Lowe with a neat defensive play. And the Oilers will take an icing call here. 5 minutes gone in the second period. 2-0 Oilers.
So your lotto numbers didn't come in. No need to sing the blues. Your ticket's got another chance if you read the right news. It's the Chicago Sun-Times Second Chance Lotto. If your Illinois Lotto ticket matches the special Second Chance numbers published in Thursday and Sunday morning Sun-Times, you'll win $20,000 cash. You just got to read the right paper. Second Chance Lotto. Only in the Sun-Times.
Grimson. Hudson, Matteau with a solid shift, putting pressure on the Oilers, getting some good chances, but shooting wide. Also getting physical early here. He sees Maley come at the last second, gets prepared and levels Maley. Maley's first action of this series. I mentioned he was going to replace Mellanby. Mellanby was questionable, but he's in the lineup. And Baranek, the rookie, is out of the lineup, and Maley takes his place. Tikkanen and Graham getting involved.
MacIver back to the Oiler net, lost it to Goulet, centering. Oh, and Larmer just shanked it off the end of his stick, to the heel of his stick, and now into there it goes. Goulet corner. Goulet. And to feed Larmer. It bounces up into the air. Coming down to the ice, and Smith. Carries it to the corner. Got help from Goulet, who's passed to Flex. Larmer in behind against Manson. They wrestle one another. There's going to be an Oiler penalty as the Cabbage controls. The whistle sounds. Chicago will head to the power play. And the Hawks with their best couple of consecutive shifts in this game. Hawks looking a little bit better here in the second. They'll head to the power play, but it's 2-0 Oilers.
In a stressful world, discover WNUA 95.5, a smooth, unique way to relax. Your escape from ordinary music. Smooth jazz. Unique music for unique people.
McIver held Larmer's stick in the corner after good pressure again by the Blackhawks. Second consecutive shift where they put the Oilers back in their own zone. Larmer being hammered by Manson, and Goulet, I should say, had a stick held by McIver. And that's the penalty, and the Blackhawks will get their second power play. They did not score in their first power play and did not get a shot at Bill Ranford. The power play, after such a good power play in the first game, struggled in game 2, though they did score 1 in 9 chances.
Sutter got the draw to Kravchuk, who lets it go. The puck was on edge, and he shot it wide, and Tikkanen cleared it ahead to Semenoff. Semenoff in on Kravchuk. Works his way to the corner. And he's surrounded there. Finally, Ryan Newton takes it away to Kravchuk. Igor Kravchuk sends Rob Brown to center. He bounces it ahead. Kevin Lowe didn't want to go into the corner first with Sutter bearing in on him. Lowe able to get the puck, though, around to the near side, and Tikkanen returns it to Lowe, who lost it. Sutter trying to set up shop along the board. Dropped it to Keith Brown. Into the side of the net. Rob Brown's pass deflected by Muni. Rob Brown got it back to Sutter along the far side. Kicks it loose to Brown. His pass held in to Keith Brown at the far point. Knocked it's knocked away by Vincent Downpost. There's a minute left on the Hawk power play. Rob Brown to the line. Flips it for Roenick on the near side. Roenick moves it front, shoots, and it's score! Jeremy Roenick shot deflected by Ranford, and then Brian Noonan on the doorstep stuffed it in. Noonan on the Hawk power play cuts the Oiler lead in half.
Well, Rob Brown with a soft feather backhand pass. Put it into the corner for Roenick. Roenick picked it up, made the move around Muni. Let the shot go from the short side. The rebound to Noonan. Ranford had a chance to beat Noonan to it, but somehow Noonan was able to jab it under him. He had difficulty locating the rebound, and Noonan was there to tuck it in. And it's a 2-1 hockey game. The Blackhawks get a power play goal.
Fourth playoff goal for Brian Noonan. The 6:36 mark. The Hawks able to shed the collar. Jeremy Roenick and Rob Brown the assist. Noonan's fourth. Here comes Roenick to the near corner. Got away from Glenn. Centered it. Graham couldn't pull the trigger. In behind. Graham got flattened. There's going to be a penalty on Richardson. Here's Roenick trying to jam it out of there. Glenn yanked him down. And the Oilers control of the whistle sounds, and the Blackhawks, having just cashed in on the power play, now get another one. It's 2-1 for the Oilers.
Point, a power play point. Nice move to turn the defenseman around Muni and then stuff it out front. The rebound hacked in by Brian Noonan, and in the next shift, Dirk Graham just leveled and cross-checked by Richardson. I don't know what Richardson was thinking of there. Definitely a penalty right in front of McCreary, and the Blackhawks with a power play chance once again. A great start for the Blackhawks here in the first 5 minutes of the second period.
Sutter trying to win another draw. Did to Chelios. Chelios looks for Roenick in behind. McIver got there first, and Manson couldn't get it out. Roenick back to the net. Hits it around the board. Steve Larmer held it for a moment, then Manson steals and clears. Steve Smith sends Larmer up the right side. Larmer gets away from Buchberger and crosses the line. Knocked down by McIver. And Buchberger takes it away. Looking for Manson. He's got time. And clears it down the length. With a bad pass at center. Now Steve Smith picks it up. Shooting it again from the Oiler fans. And Goulet skates it over the line. Drops it to Rob Brown. He left it for Chelios. Back to Rob Brown at the line. Deep slot to Smith. Near circle to Noonan. Ryan Noonan for Goulet. Back to the line. Smith. Back to Goulet. Top of the ring. He lets it go. Ranford gave a rebound to Noonan. Couldn't find it. Then Goulet had it hop over his stick. And the Oilers able to clear. Half a minute for the Hawk power play as it's dumped back to the Oiler net. Couldn't get it away from Rob Brown. He slipped it neatly to Goulet. Picks his way in front, then drops it to Kravchuk, who shoots one. Just hit the side of the net. Held in by Kravchuk at the line. Moving in. Then feeds Goulet along the board. Back to Kravchuk. He feeds Goulet top of the ring. Goulet the shot. The save by Ranford. At this time he juggled but held it before it came back to the ice.
One thing the Blackhawks wanted to do more on their power play is fake the shot to get the Oilers, who like to go down and shot block, get them down and then make the pass by them. Buchberger twice that time, with Kravchuk having the puck at the point, went down. This time Goulet gets it, fakes the pass, and snaps the wrist shot. Ranford on his knees was able to put the glove on it after he juggled it momentarily, but prior to that, Buchberger went down to block Kravchuk's attempt. Kravchuk faked the shot, slipped it to Goulet. Power play, though, they only have 6 seconds remaining. If they don't score, at least they've had some quality chances and good puck movement in the Oilers' zone.
And the draw is taken by Lowe around the boards and out. Both teams are now back at full strength.
Automatic play. You win the draw, you fire hard around the far side, and usually there's no one there to be able to stop it.
With an errant pass, resulting in an icing call. And we're nearing the midpoint of the middle period. Edmonton leads Chicago 2-1.
A very nervous and quiet Northlands Coliseum crowd. Not a sellout. 4,000 seats available prior to the game tonight. Well, we had a few walk-ups, but not very many with the weather outside.
In their previous series, the 3 home games they played, had only 1 sellout. The other 2, there were at least 1,000 seats available for each of those games. There's some room tonight here in the Northlands Coliseum. Here's Chris Chelios. Steps away from a check, racing over the Oiler line. Chelios to the deep slot, couldn't pull the trigger, and Brian Glynn couldn't get it past Sutter. Back to the near side it goes. Dirk Graham will hold it in. Graham went down, bangs it in behind the goal, though, and Richardson able to send it ahead. Here comes Nichols. He's got Murphy on the move, feathers it ahead, just ahead of him. And Murphy got a rough ride from Graham, who puts the stick on it first, and that's an icing call against the Oilers. And Graham and Nichols with a collision as the whistle sounded. And a few angry stares, but that's all for now.
Well, they don't come any tougher than Dirk Graham. Good solid hit on Murphy. The 2-on-2 situation with one forward back. Nichols trying to feather one ahead for Murphy. Got too far, too much of it, but Murphy cut off at the pass by Dirk Graham, and then Nichols trying to get away from Graham. Somehow they got tied up and he went spinning to the ice like Kirk Browning in his opening act here for it's a unique perspective on old Canada. 6-1, the Blackhawks with a big shot advantage and play advantage. Most of it's been in the Oilers zone as the Hawks have making amends for a poor first period here in the second. It's a big plus for the Blackhawks, so it's a 2-1 Oiler lead. The conditioning aspect, the week off, has really had to be a big positive factor as this series wears on.
Mellenby couldn't get it out. Now Rob Brown on the far side. Tipped it to Larmer in the corner, puts it in behind a Goulet. Trying to center one, just missing Larmer. Lima took a whack at it, bangs it to the Hawk line, and Kravchuk will beat Maley there. Now Rob Brown. Campbell loose to Kravchuk. Long backhand pass right on the money to Rob Brown. Steps over the Oiler line, picks his way. Oh, he almost was able to walk in right to the net, but tried to make a feed. It deflects to the corner. Larmer after it there. Slipped it to the line. Kravchuk looking to center. He came right back to him. Now he walks it. Fires! And a save. It deflected and just laid there for Ranford. And Rob Brown upset that he couldn't stuff it in.
Well, Rob Brown made one extra pass where Maley peeled off, and Brown had clear sailing to Ranford, but decided to pass it to Larmer. Larmer was tied up, but the puck came to Kravchuk. Backhand attempt stopped by Mellenby, but a good second effort by Kravchuk. Cranks it up. I think that hit Rob Brown's stick and deflected up, slowed it up, and up into Bill Ranford. Rob Brown standing in front of the net. He does have a nose for the net. Averaging a point a game in his career. Off the shaft and up into the glove of Bill Ranford.
Boy, it just hit the shaft really dead on. Rather than deflecting it and changing direction, it seemed to hit the shaft and die and just lay there. Tough break for Rob Brown, and Bill Ranford was happy about that. Face-off will be to his left. Nichols, Murphy, and Danfus against Hudson, Noonan, and Grimson. With Russell and Marchment, the Hawks defense pairing, and here come the Oilers as Murphy races in there on Russell. Stops quickly, tries to center it across to Nichols. He was at his feet, he couldn't find him, and centered it. Big save by Belfour on Danfus, who was all alone in front of the net. And Ed Belfour with a huge save for Chicago. Now Danfus over the Chicago line, and behind the play, a stare down between Hudson and Lowe. Maybe there was more than staring, because they're going to get penalties here. 9 minutes remaining in the second period. 2-1 Edmonton.
Went right at him, leaving the front of the net wide open for Danfus, and Ed Belfour bails him out.
Anatoly Semenov in the Oilers zone, hounded by Graham, who kicks it loose to Mateau. Mateau in the far corner, looks for Graham. He battles Semenov again. He then got a big hit from behind from Richardson, and Graham still persevering, hocking it up along the board brilliantly, and finally the Oilers' Semenov comes up with it and bounces one to center ice. Smith's got it back in. Here's Richardson for the Oilers. Richardson to Essa, Tikkanen up the left side. Tikkanen in on Telios, then 3-on-3, and his pass is picked off nicely by Smith, who was right in the passing lane. Smith the other way, gets the line, had it poked away. Roenick carries on. Jeremy Roenick jammed it loose. Goulet centered it. Oh, Smith in front of the net, unable to get any wood on that. And now we're going to have a penalty coming up against the Oilers. And Essa Tikkanen knows it. He heads right to the box. And the Blackhawks will get their third straight power play here in the second period.
Well, twice in this period, centering passes from behind the net to the front of the net. For Fandon, Steve Larmer did it in his first shift of the period. Steve Smith on a feed from Roenick, had his stick tied up and missed a great chance to tie it up. And meanwhile, no argument from Tikkanen. He went straight to the box, whistled off for tripping at 12:04. Well, the Blackhawks will get their fourth power play of the contest, their third straight. They have their lone goal on the power play. They scored at 6:36 in the second period. Noonan from Roenick and Brown to make it a 2-1 game for Edmonton.
Kravchuk looks for Roenick and missed him, but Goulet picks up the two-line pass and a whistle.
Well, Goulet not playing that much, making the best of his opportunities with 2 goals and 2 assists in his 4th playoff contest of the year.
38 playoff goals for Goulet in 84 games now. And now Sutter comes on to replace him with Larmer and Roenick, Smith and Chelios, McTavish and Buckberger for the Oilers, along with Manson and McIver. Steve Smith for Roenick, now Chelios with room to center. He'll hammer it in there. Ranford couldn't stop it. Around the boards it goes, and kick loose in behind. McIver has time and room. Clearing. Angrily slamming his stick along the glass as he heads for a player change. Now the Hawk Sutter looks for Larmer. The pass at his feet. Smith regrouping in his own end. Lost the handle to Semenoff. A long clip shot at Belfour. Stopped that without any difficulty. And Chelios put it over the stick of Smith, and the Hawk power play has scored a goal tonight, but when they haven't scored, it's been very rare that they've had much pressure on Bill Ranford.
This is a terrible start to this power play, and they're not going to get many more. They better make the best of the remaining minute 7 left on this one. This is their 4th, their 3rd straight. After they killed off a 5-minute major. Jocelyn Lemieux high-sticking David Maley late in the 1st period.
So many times, and you said it right at the time, Karnak, so many times during the season we see a 5-minute penalty have a very big influence, if not a direct input on the outcome of the hockey game. If the team who's got the power play scores a goal or 2, obviously a big lift. But if the team that's short for 5 kills it off, so often they come right back and turn the tide their way. Here's Goulet racing for a dump in, and a diving shot blocked by Maley, or I should say Muni, beautifully. Great play by Craig Muni. Now Brown at the line for Kravchuk. Gave it to Noonan along the board, side of the net for Goulet. Pass at his feet. Ranford swats it into the corner. Noonan after it there. That's some help from Goulet, who center one tipped in, and they score. Rob Brown, a waist-high pass that somehow he directed into the net. McCreary was right there, and he says it's a goal. 2 power play goals for the Hawks. We're tied at 2.
And Brian Noonan with the good work along the near boards after the first pass to Goulet hit a skate. And Goulet got it from Noonan, fired it across the goal mouth about knee-high, and it hit Brown in the leg and deflected in the net. And they say it was accidentally knocked in. It wasn't. That was hit with a stick. Rob Brown, with great hand-eye coordination, picked that out of midair off the blade, off the shaft of his stick, and into the net. What a play from Rob Brown, who's had a goal and an assist in this 2nd period, in only his 2nd game of the playoffs, and 2nd game in this series.
That's his first playoff goal of this year, but what a great factor he has been. 7 goals now in 20 career playoff games for Rob Brown. And Dale, we said it when he played a game earlier. We don't know if we've seen him be more involved physically, and he badly wants to be in this Hawk lineup, getting a chance with the Gilbert injury tonight, making the most of it.
He played extremely well in game 1. Hudson coming back, they took him out of the lineup, and that had to hurt him, but he's really kept his composure and been a real plus.
Had a 2-0 lead after a very strong first period, but here in the 2nd, the Hawks killing off that 5-minute power play late in the 1st and early here in the 2nd, and momentum has swung to Chicago's side here in the 2nd period. Very few Edmonton scoring chances, which was 180 degrees opposite of the way it was in the 1st. Here comes Chelios over the Oiler line, centering. Oh, Larmer was wide open, but the pass hit a leg, and it shot back the other way. Taken by Steve Smith. Head to Larmer. He got a nice pass to Goulet, who tees up a long shot and couldn't get it past Howgood, or I should say McIver. And Norm McIver looks to clear, then it's held in by Hudson. His shot didn't get through. And Nichols ends it ahead. Kravchuk picked it off. Lifting it back in there. Here's Manson for Chips it over everybody's head. Back into the Hawk zone. Icing will be called here as Clarence puts the touch on it with exactly 5 minutes left in the second period. The Hawks have caught the Oilers at a deuce.
Over to the Blackhawks, played 25 games with the Blackhawks, getting 5 goals and 11 assists. Played very sparingly in the first 2 playoff games of the series against St. Louis. His first full action was in game 1 of this series, and sat out game 2 when Hudson returned, but he's had a good game here, especially this second period.
And the Oilers, who had 13 shots in the first, have had 3 in the second. One of them was a terrific scoring chance that Belfour was able to stop. Other than that, not very many Edmonton chances as the Blackhawks really turn the fortunes around here in the second period.
The longer the game goes, the more advantage the Blackhawks get because of their conditioning and their rest period. You can see the effects. The Oilers gave it everything they had in the first period. I don't know if they've got that much left in the tank.
Luke Richardson with Brian Glynn in the Oilers zone. Pass stolen by Chris Chelios. Fires it back in there. Glynn got it to the corner. Sutter there from a toe in behind. He's wrapped up by Glynn, and down Foose looks to clear and does. Clear it back into the Hawk zone. The second period has been that type of play from the Oilers' tail. They've had a tough time coming out of their own end. Here's a Sutter wrist shot. Just wide. Rebound Sutter. Shot went off the side of the net. Sutter has it again. Glenn knocked him down. Graham jammed it loose in behind. Richardson gave it to Nichols. On feed. Missing down Foose. Sliding the length. The race is on. And down Foose hustled to save icing, but Chelios knocked him down, and Chris Chelios leads Brent Sutter, whose chip in was picked off by Muni. And now McTavish puts Lamb over the line. Lamb tees it up, shooting, and it's saved by Belfour. Gave a rebound, and kicked it wide by McTavish. Greg McTavish got to that loose puck and flipped it as he was falling, just missing the near post. Larmer the other way to Goulet. Lets it go. Blocked by Lowe. Goulet got it back in behind the net to Larmer. Steve Larmer along the far side, and Lowe chopped it off his stick to center ice.
Hawks got away with when Pat Muni was interfered with, which resulted in a big rush up the ice for the Blackhawks.
Here's Rob Brown for Larmer in the corner. His pass deflecting. Roenick got to it, and then it's knocked off his stick back to center ice. 3 minutes remaining in the second period. There's Lowe. And Lamb to center. He'll get it in there. Edmonton completes the player change. Ryan Marchment. Let his pass deflect. Here's Tikkanen. Back in there. Russell cut him off. They both hit the deck, and Tikkanen centered, but Rob Brown in good position defensively. And he sends it back into the Oilers zone. Tikkanen. Here's it ahead. Klima. Leading for McIver, and Mateau took him off the puck. Kravchuk around the board to Noonan on right wing. He tried to clear it, deflected up over the glass and into the crowd.
That Belfour fighting off of those long shots. Well, that Belfour's confident playing well. He doesn't leave those types of rebounds, but a long shot from Lamb resulted in a quality chance for McTavish. Lamb on the left wing lets it go from 40 feet. Belfour makes the save. McTavish does a good job to get away from Marchment and just trickles it wide of the near post. And then Muni goes down. Goulet took a set of pick, enabling Larmer to come up the ice, and then Goulet let the shot go. Good shot blocked by the veteran Kevin Lowe. Got to fake that first shot because the other players will go down in a hurry to try and block.
Game 4 of this series back here in the Northland Coliseum on Friday night. It'll be 8 o'clock on Sports Channel Chicago and 8:20 on WBBM. Here we have just over 2 minutes left in period 2. Tied at 2. And the draw is taken by Chris Chelios back to the Chicago goal. Nicely up the middle to Graham. He spots Matteau on the left side. He's got Sutter with him. And the puck knocked away by McIver, and Tikkanen able to clear it back to into the Hawk zone.
This line has been terrific for the Blackhawks. Graham on the right side, Sutter at center, and Matteau on the left.
In the Oilers zone, Nichols ran into Goulet. It's kicked loose to Roenick. He's knocked down by Manson. And the puck controlled by the Oilers' Murphy. He couldn't get past Graham. Dirk Graham, what a workmanlike game he's had, and he's been terrific so far tonight for Chicago. A little flip shot through traffic, and a leaping Ranford made the body save and held it.
Dirk Graham has won every battle along the boards and in behind the net in the offensive zone. Any other player that's been with him one-on-one, he's gotten the puck away from him. And as a result, Steve Smith was able to get the puck. Great board work. First by Goulet to tie up Nichols. Graham continues. Roenick goes head first in the end boards. I can't believe some of the times he's able to get right back up like nothing happened. And some of these off-balance situations for him. Dirk Graham doing tremendous work along the boards, creating the chance for Smith, who flipped it from the blue line. Ranford didn't pick it up until very late.
Roenick was a little slower to get up that time. He went crashing awkwardly in there. And, boy, you're right. He just seems to have those Energizer batteries. He keeps on bumping and grinding right along.
Look out, here comes that bunny right now.
A minute and a half left in the period, and Roenick's right back on there with Rob Brown and Larmer. Here's the draw taken by Muni. Give it to Lamb, who hoists one over the glass and into the crowd.
The other team is really, I think, a little affected by the situation that's developed. They had a 2-0 lead, very strong first period, but a dominant performance once again by the Blackhawks here in the second, and the Oilers are having a difficult time getting out of their own zone. Their best play is to flip out.
And that's, I think, what the Hawks may have done, Dale. It seems to me that they've gone back to their usual style of forechecking. They were going to change things up to start this game tonight the way they did in the first game in Detroit. But they've gone back here in the second period to their normal style, and the Oilers have had a tough time coming out against it.
Well, they were affected by the penalty minutes. 9 minutes they were shorthanded in the first part of this hockey game.
There's Chelios with a long shot. He scores! Chris Chelios fired it through traffic. It appeared that Ranford was screened, and Chelios with a 60-footer just inside the near post. The Hawks lead for the first time tonight, 3-2.
The Hawks winning the draw. Great job by Jeremy Roenick. Advanced it, was hacked at by the other defenseman, right to Chelios, who moved to the middle of the blue line. Got it by Lamb and Muni, and Ranford never saw it. It was just inside the near post. Now, Roenick tried to go forward with it. It was hacked at by an Oiler defenseman, I believe Muni. It was kept in by Chelios on the back end, moved to the middle of the blue line, and snapped it in. Only his second road point of the playoffs. The 5th goal of the playoffs.
And it appears the goal will be unassisted. Chelios in 1849 with his 5th of the postseason, and the Hawks, with a 3-goal second period, have assumed the lead. We're into the final minute of the second period. Here's Smith keeping it in. Around the board for Graham on the far side. Dirk Graham kicks it loose behind the net to Sutter. Sutter now walks in front of the wraparound. It's blocked nicely by Muni. And then the Oilers able to come up with it. Nichols feeds down loose over the line, leaving for Muni, who overskates it. Hawks look to counter quickly. Graham up the right wing board. Manson cut him off, then he beats Matteau, whose stick was lifted as he tried to shoot. Chelios carried on. He had it stripped away by a diving Oiler. Murphy and Manson 2-on-1. In on Smith. Murphy cutting in, shooting. Shot it high. No, Murphy tried for the top shelf and missed it. And the Hawks able to clear it back into the Oilers zone.
Tremendous play by Danfus to dive and strip it away from Chelios. Then both Chelios and Matteau fell down.
Here's is taken into the Hawk zone. Goulet rides him into the side boards. And they hit the deck as the siren sounds to end the second period. A great comeback period for the road team tonight as they had a tough time in the first, but scored 3 unanswered in the second period.
Stunned would be about the best word to describe the Edmonton Oilers. After the first period, the Oilers looked like they had things really going their way. They were aggressive, playing their best hockey of the series, but the Blackhawks come back with 3 goals in the second period to take the lead. The first one came in the power play. Jeremy Roenick takes the shot. Brian Noonan took a punch at it and knocks it by Bill Ranford. That got the Hawks on the board. It was 2-1 still, though, in favor of Edmonton. At the 13:31 mark, Rob Brown bunts it right by Bill Ranford. Michel Goulet set it up. The game was tied at 2-2. And then with just 1 minute, 11 seconds remaining in the period, Jeremy Roenick won the draw. It's kind of surprising they didn't give him an assist in the goal. Chris Chelios rips it past Ranford. For Chelios, his 5th goal of the playoffs. The Blackhawks have a 3-2 lead as they head to the locker room at the end of the second period. Rob Brown with a goal and an assist. Brian Noonan with a goal and assist as well. Taking a look at the shots on goal, they start to even up in the second period. Edmonton outshot the Hawks 13-6 in the opening period of play, but the Blackhawks dominate the second period. 10-4 shots on goal in favor of the Hawks, although in the total, Edmonton still has a 1-shot edge on the Blackhawks. Through 40 minutes of play, it's the Blackhawks 3, the Oilers 2 in Game 3 of the Campbell Conference Finals.
Lead from the Oilers 3-2 after 2. They're trying to tie an NHL record of 10 playoff victories in a row. Boy, the setting was appropriate. It was snowing all day and still snowing tonight. A special treat during the Canadian national anthem. Olympic hero Kurt Browning skated to the anthem in front of his hometown. It seemed to fire the Oilers up at least in the first period. You're going to see a 2-on-1 break as Craig McTavish nailed the goal. This gave Edmonton a 2-0 lead after 1 period. But Chicago has just stormed back to take the lead. It was 2-2 when Chris Chelios fired one past Bill Ranford to make it 3-2 after the second period. The Hawks are attempting to go up 3-0 in the series. The Sox have just lost their series to Kansas City. Tonight the Royals won 7-2 to take it 2-1. One huge hit pretty much determined the outcome of the game. Greg Jeffries got to Alex Fernandez for this Grand Slam homer in the 5th. The Royals led 5-0, won it 7-2. So the Sox have dropped to a game and a half behind Oakland for first place. 29,000 fans out there at the ball yard. Let's check the scores quickly. The A's over the Orioles. Twins and Toronto were tied in the 10th. Texas 1-0 over the Indians. Yankees 3-2 over the Angels in 12. The Red Sox beat Seattle and Tigers 4, Milwaukee 3. The Cubs and Dodgers just starting out west. It's 1-1 in the 3rd. San Francisco beat Pittsburgh. Atlanta over the Cardinals. Montreal 6, Cincinnati 5. The Phillies nipped the Astros. Mets 4-2 over the Padres. That game in the 5th inning. In the NBA, 2 coaches named today. Dan Issel takes over at Denver, while Rudy Tomjanovich is made the permanent coach at Houston. And yes, this Friday night at Sportsman's Park and Sunday at Balmoral, Robbie Knievel will perform. Knievel, the son of the legendary Evel Knievel, is best known for his successful jump over the fountains at Caesar's Palace, something his father did not make. He'll be jumping 20 cars this weekend. He's done a ton of jumps, but tells me he gets mighty scared every time.
Yeah, there's a definite nervousness, tension, like a fighter or a ball player, anybody that's going out for the big game. You know, I'm facing the big competitor, death, and risking my neck. I know that, but you know, my mom says get a regular job. I says I got one. I started 8 years old. You know.
Oh, sorry, we're all out of time. Got to go.
He flies through the air. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Good night.
Good night.
Why did Hertz invent #1 club goal service? To beat the rush hour. See, every plane and everybody seems to land at once. But with goal service, there are no counters and no paperwork.
High, great hands by Brown off the shaft of the stick and into the net. That tied the game at 13:31. So 2 power play goals doing the work for the Blackhawks to tie it up. And then the Hawks on a face-off. Roenick advanced and Muni couldn't clear. Left in by Chris Chelios at the blue line, moves to the middle of the blue line, a foot inside the line, gets past Lamb, and Ranford had no chance. The shot labeled for the inside part of the near post, and it's a 3-2 Blackhawk lead. Great penalty killing, turned the whole game around, and then 2 power play goals and a big finish for Chris Chelios on the long shot.
The Edmonton Oilers gave the Hawks a big shot in the first period. Whatever they have left in their tank, the Hawks are going to see here in the third. Chicago will take a 3-2 lead into that third period, which follows this timeout.
Sports Channel Friday night, the Campbell Conference Finals, Game 4. The Blackhawks against these same Edmonton Oilers. Coverage begins at 8 o'clock Central Time on Sports Channel and 8:20 on WVBM Radio. Blackhawks conditioning. This is a pretty good statistic. They've outscored their opponents 14-6 in the third period, and in this series, 6-0.
3 unanswered goals in the second period have propelled the Blackhawks into the lead. And they will try to really back the Oilers into the corner. Dale, it seemed to me that started to touch on it, that the Oilers really gave the Blackhawks their best in the first period. The Hawks, being shorthanded a fair amount of that time, had difficulty getting going in the second period. Sparked by the penalty killers, the Hawks really turned the tables. The forechecking seemed to take over for Chicago. And the Oilers are going to have to turn it back up a notch if they hope to have this series go very much farther.
Well, the Blackhawks starting the third period with a line that's been brilliant tonight. Sutter, Graham, and Mateau.
And here's Chris Chelios shooting it in. Kevin Lowe looking to clear. Chelios kept it in nicely, looking for Ryan Noonan, whose shot deflects wide. And now Lowe for Edmonton. Here's it ahead to Peter Klima. Left wing to Tikkanen over the line. Looking back to Klima. He was knocked off the puck by Stefan Mateau with a nice play defensively. And Noonan able to get it in there deep. Kevin Lowe gave it to Tikkanen. He shoots it in. Here's Chelios. Got away from Maley. And Chelios clears it deep into the Oilers zone. Manson tips it ahead to Mark Lamb. Now Craig McTavish beating Buchberger over the line. In on Kravchuk. Buchberger dropped it back. McIver cuts in there. Center one. Only just missed Lamb. And back come the Hawks. Dumped into the Oilers zone. And McIver was all the way behind the Hawk net a moment ago. Now comes out of his own zone. Gave it to Manson. Tries a long one, and Belfour steers it to the near corner. Kravchuk. Able to get help from Rob Brown. He feeds that to Hudson. One man to beat. Hudson in on McIver. Streaking around him. The backhand and a save by Ranford. And then a centering pass stolen by Manson. Now on the far side, it's held in by Russell to Hudson in the corner. Got away from McTavish. Put it in behind the net. Rob Brown takes a look for Peluso. It didn't get to him. Brown has it again, centering. Hudson had his stick tied up. Nice play by McIver. And the Oilers down boost. Picks his way back over the Hawk line on Russell. Finally, Russell got a piece of him, then Murphy carried on. Well, Murphy to the corner. Knocked down, still centered it. Bouncing puck down, Foose got to it. Turning on the near side. Down Foose, center one deflected, a big goal. And a save by Belfour. He had the blocker right there. And Nichols couldn't make any stick handling maneuvers with it. Early in the second period, a threat from Edmonton, but the Hawks still lead 3-2.
The afterburners showing great speed. Puts the puck away from McIver. Shields it, goes to the backhand. Good save by Bill Ranford. Stacking the pads. Ranford read that before the shot was going to go. He knew that there was no option for Hudson other to go backhand to the near side. Ernie Nichols countering at the other end after Rob Brown made a nice defensive play to slide in front of the pass. Ed Belfour didn't have a lot of work in the second period, Pat, but 3 of the 4 shots were quality chances. He made a great save on Dan Foose, one on McTavish, and then Joe Murphy shot one wide on a 2-on-1. But that was a big save for Belfour and the Blackhawks, keeping it a 3-2 game on Bernie Nichols. First period, Chelios getting a bit of a rest, 7 minutes and 50 seconds. And And the defense pairing that got most of the ice time, Russell and Marchment. A lot more ice time in the second for Chelios, and probably will get as much or more third.
Mitchell got a rough ride at center from Glenn. Now down Foose. Handed it right to Smith. Steve Smith beats Sutter. Ahead to Noonan. One man to beat. His long shot steered away by the right pad of Ranford. And Glenn now behind the Oiler net. Tips it off the glass, not out. Chelios put it back into the corner. Goulet chasing there. And then Nichols beating Brian Glenn. And just clears it off the glass. And I'll tell you, since the early part of the second period, that's been a high percentage of times that the Oilers have had to do that. Just fire it out, hoping to clear their own zone. Here comes Kevin Lowe out of the zone end. Flipped it to center. Brown stopped the rush there to Smith. And now Bailey for the Oilers. That is pass picked off. Michel Goulet's attempted centering pass was picked off, however, and now Larmer and Lowe, two guys not normally used to the rough stuff, have gone back and forth. They will get penalties. It's 3-2 Chicago.
In these playoffs, going at it along the far boards, right by the penalty box. Lowe and Larmer getting their sticks up. Lowe wrestles them, then cross-checks him. Kevin Lowe gets away with quite a bit with a stick. He's pretty good with the stick, and he and Larmer doing battle. Finally, they're both sent off. Offsetting minor penalties at 3:31.
Now Craig McTavish broke his stick as he dumped it in. Kravchuk back and off the play, a problem. Bill McCreary sounding the whistle. Mike Hudson seems to be the man who will head off.
Well, just a matter of time. An elbow or a high sticking penalty on Hudson. Trying to slow up McTavish. They were doing battle right off the face-off, all the way up the neutral zone ice. And it's Hudson that's sent off for high sticking, and the Oilers, with their fourth power play, looking for their first power play goal of this series. Well, it's a tough call. Mike Hudson can't believe it. He was tied up by McTavish, tried to get at Dave Manson. The stick came up and clipped McTavish along the right arm.
The Oilers with a power play opportunity, and Manson kicks it to the corner, but Smith is there, and he clears it. Norm McIver sends Manson ahead. Manson one to center. Nichols got to it. Or down Foose over the line, threw it into the slot area. Smith picked it off beautifully and clears it again. Hansen up the left side, bouncing it into the hog zone. Belfour wants to clear it himself. He did get it to center. Now Foose has it there. Picked off by Smith, who was right in the lane. And Goulet sends it down into the Oilers zone. There's a minute left in the Edmonton power play. Is Tikkanen got his pass broken up. Smith seems to be everywhere. Now the Oilers do get the line. Mellenby moves in behind the net. Got Mellenby playing on a tender ankle. Leaves it on the far side. Taken by Tikkanen. Into the corner it goes on a centering pass. Mellenby shooting. He had to kick it to the stick and shot it wide. Brent Sutter works the near side, and Glenn looking to hold it in. Had it stripped away by Chelios. And the Oilers flip it back in. Belfour to the corner. Sweeps it around the boards, and Chelios has time to find the opening. He does.
What a shift for Steve Smith. He intercepted every pass and every dump-in attempt by the Oilers. And then Chelios finishes it off on his side.
And the The Edmonton power play is over, and they got nothing going on that opportunity. But here they come again, a center pass. Klima! What a save by Belfour, who sprawled to his left to stop a great chance from Klima. Klima again got knocked down, this time by Hudson. And the puck is cleared to center ice. Hudson feeds Roenick. Roenick gets the line and then had to flip it in there. Dave Manson. Going to start the Oilers back. To center and Maley over the Hawk line. Keith Brown played the body beautifully. Kravchuk came across to play the puck. And Igor Kravchuk had his pass deflect. Rob Brown, though, shot it into the Oilers' zone. Now McTavish got to center. He's surrounded there. Chelios took it away, and Rob Brown drops it back into his own end. Paluso took a hit from Jelena, but he held the puck, put it around the board. And Chelios safely bounces one to center. Kelly Buchberger dumping it back in. Chelios fires it around the near side. Richardson kept it into the corner. Jelena leaves it there. Buchberger out to the line. Richardson a long shot. Oh, that just hit Belfour. Never saw it with McTavish providing the screen. But he just happened to be there, and it hit him. And now the Oilers keep it in. Here's the drive. They score! A long shot through traffic by Brian Glynn. And Edmonton has tied the game at 3.
Mark Belfour makes a miraculous save on that first shot. With McTavish in front, he hacked him in the ankle. It hit him in the left shoulder, but a poor clearing attempt by Rob Brown along the far side. He had possession, went to the backhand. Chelios, or I should say Mateau. Mateau hacked at it, didn't get it out. And Glynn with the screen shot. Again, McTavish tied up by Steve Smith, but McTavish doing the work, the little things will create scoring chances, and Belfour never saw it after Glynn intercepted Mateau's clearing attempt. Well, big goal for the Edmonton Oilers, and it's a 3-3 contest.
Fourth goal for Brian Glynn. And now the draw. We have, I think, a problem off the play. And Bill McCreary has another penalty or two to hand out here. We're tied at 3.
Brian Glynn's fourth goal of the playoffs. Played with the North Stars last year in the playoffs. And Chelios to Mateau. Mateau, the backhand clearing attempt, weakly kept in by Glynn, and the screen shot. Give McTavish all the credit for that. Setting up the screen in front.
Glynn's goal unassisted, but certainly pointed out, Craig McTavish, a big influence on that. Now Keith Brown and Don Fuss have been sent off at 7:24 for coincidental minors. And here's Manson in his own end. Up the middle to Klima. He cleared it for Joe Murphy on right wing. Ryan Noonan able to hook him and catch up with him. Now into the near corner it goes, and Brent Sutter sends it to center ice, where Noonan gets knocked down but gets help from Chelios, putting it back into the Oilers zone. Dick Muni on the far side. Puts it ahead to Nichols. He looks for Mellenby. And on Smith, and Steve Smith took him off the puck. Now Kravchuk. Gave it to Smith. And he clears it to center ice. Haley or Mellenby over the line. Tees it up, shooting right on a save by Belfour. He was going to play it, then thinks again and covers it up. And Kravchuk gets a face full of elbow from Mellenby. And that's all for now.
With a 2-on-1, then Kravchuk forces the long shot. Belfour making the save, leaving a rebound, and then falling on top of it. And Kravchuk and Mellenby get their sticks up at each other. In a 3-3 game now, these teams can ill afford to take a penalty.
Maley, Mellenby, and Tikkanen for Edmonton. Hudson, Rob Brown, and Paluso for Chicago. Here's the draw taken by Marchment. Gave it to Russell. And Russell flipped it over the stick of Peluso to center. Bouncing around there. And finally taken by Russell at his own line. Give it to Hudson, who bounces it in. And Dave Manson to play it for the Oilers. His pass stolen by Rob Brown. But Manson got it back, but couldn't clear it. Rob Brown centered one. It didn't get to Mateau. Brown has it again. Walks into the slot. Rob Brown tees it up. Tried to shoot as he was yanked down by Maley. Here's Russell on a drive. And that's deflected just wide. Now Marchment looks to hold it in, but it's cleared away. Back into the Chicago zone, and Russell to play it. Got it to Rob Brown. Lifting it into the Edmonton end. Luke Richardson. Brent Sutter hounding into the corner. Then Nichols able to pick it out of there. Bernie Nichols carries it over the Hawk line. Weaving to the far side center. Chelio's able to steal it with a great read. Trying to counter. Ahead to Sutter. He moves in. Sutter with the shot. He shot it wide as it rolled off the end of his stick. Murphy the other way for the Oilers. 3-on-3. Murphy over the line, weaving to the slot. Tipped it to the near side, and Brent Sutter there to steal it. He sends Goulet back. Has no help, though, as the Hawks are changing, so he gets it in and heads back for a change. Here's a bouncing puck in the neutral zone, and Steve Larmer able to gain possession. He got it to Smith. Pushing it back behind Ranford. Peluso goes racing in there, jammed it loose. Ranford checked it away from Larmer. And McTavish picks it up for the Oilers. And they've been going end-to-end for the last couple of shifts in this game. Here comes McTavish over the line. Peeling off on the near side. Up the near boards, missing Jelena. Then Buchberger put it into the far corner, and Peluso is first there. And couldn't get it out. Here's a long shot. Elmore makes the save. And then Kravchuk, as he got knocked down by Jelena. Here comes Rob Brown over the line. Brown, center one. Roenick cuts in behind the net. Lost the handle in traffic there. Rob Brown against Lowe. They duel along the boards, and then McTavish failed to get it by Chelio. Bring it into the corner. Hudson circling. Mike Hudson against Muni. Cuts in for the net, and a poke check by Ranford. Puck lays loose. Chopped in behind the goal. Rob Brown is there. Brown takes a look. Tipped it to the near side, and Chelio's a long flip shot weakly on, and Ranford was going to hold it, then played it to McTavish. McTavish 3-on-3 feathers it ahead, and Elmore a good read out of the net. Back into the corner, Jelena. Tried to center from there, nothing doing. Goulet comes racing back the other way. Goulet over the Oiler line, left it for Noonan into the slot. Couldn't pull the trigger. Good play by Manson, who stood him up. And back into the Hawk zone it goes, and at long last a whistle. The most furious action we've had consistently in this game. Down to 8 minutes remaining in the third. Tie at 3.
I'm having a problem physically. I don't know if it's a hand or what. He's had a brilliant game. He started the third period, the center ice face-off, and then went right off. Ryan Noonan took his spot and has not stepped back on the ice. Meanwhile, the best end-to-end action of this series is both teams trading punches, but neither team able to get the go-ahead goal. Mike Hudson with a determined effort. Ranford with the stick angled perfectly, deflected away. Rob Brown hacked at it, just shot it wide.
Mentioned Dirk Graham, and Dale, we talked in the second period about how well he has played tonight. He has been absolutely terrific, winning every one-on-one battle, and he does seem to have a problem physically. A moment ago, he was just talking with Dr. Lewis Cole, the Hawks team physician, who's down in behind the bench. So it does seem that there's some sort of a problem with the Chicago captain, because very clearly he would be playing if he was okay physically. In behind the Oiler net. Noonan gets to it in the corner. Ryan Noonan tied up by Manson, gets away from him, trying to cut in, knocked down by Manson. And everybody trying to find the puck. He's in behind the goal. Lamb and Sutter battling there. A couple of others join in. The toe with help from Noonan. And again, everybody piles up. Finally, MacIver able to come out of there with it. And the Oilers try to move 3-on-3. Here comes Tikkanen. In on Pete Brown. Tikkanen pass deflects off the skate to Kravchuk. Igor Kravchuk fires a long shot. Blocker save. Ranford up over the glass. Into the crowd. 7.5 to go in regulation time. Tied at a field.
No, it's not an illusion. It's not Christmas in Edmonton. It's a live shot outside the Northlands Coliseum, snowing here on May 20th in the great Northwest. But it's red hot here in the building. 3-3 game and end-to-end action of excellently played third period.
Buchberger and Roenick for the draw, which is into the corner. Roenick working against Buchberger there. Now Goulet in behind the net. He battles with Craig Muni, who won the puck but couldn't get it past Smith. Roenick again looks for Goulet. Oh, it just barely failed to click on that. Now Larmer out to the line, and Chelios keeping it in. Shot it around the boards. Roenick bumped into the corner. And it's still jammed it loose to Smith, top of the ring. He had his shot blocked by McTavish. Chelios kept it in, wristing one, and a save by Ranford. Rebound Larmer. This pass deflected by McTavish. Back to the Chicago line. Dave Larmer. Up by Lowe. Winds up back in the Oilers zone, and Bernie Nichols has it. Hammers it around the boards, and McTavish whips it to center right. Facing himself. And a diving poke check by Larmer knocked it off his stick. In behind the Hawk net it goes. McTavish with help from Nichols looking to center. Belfour got the goal stick there, and he holds it. Game 3 in period 3 is tied at 3.
Both goaltenders with the same number of saves. 20 saves apiece on 23 shots apiece. 6:19 left in the third. Oilers need to win to stay alive. They'll stay alive, but barely if they lose this one.
Edmonton, here's an amazing stat. The Oilers, of course, have been in the playoffs every year that they've been in the league, all 13 seasons. Edmonton, the last time they were down 2-0 in any series was in 1983. They've gone almost a full decade without ever losing the first 2 games of any series in which they played. And that was in the finals back in 1983 when the New York Islanders swept the Oilers 4-0. Big muck up in behind the Edmonton goal. 4 players have locked it up along the boards, and the whistle sounds.
Glenn and Mattel, 2 big boys going at it behind the net. Former Calgary Flames, both of them. And Mattel's had a strong game, except for that one turnover which resulted in the tying goal and a backhand dump out that was kept in by Glenn. Former Calgary Flames, both of them. Mattel's had a strong game, except for that one turnover which resulted in the tying goal and a backhand dump out that was kept in by Glenn.
Glenn, Nichols, and McTavish have scored for Edmonton. Noonan, Chelios, and Rob Brown have scored for Chicago. All the Hawk goals came in the second period. Nichols and Roenick for the draw, which Roenick kicked back to Smith. He was tied up, and it's poked loose to center. Roenick hounded there by Nichols, and finally the Oilers' Manson controls it. 4 down Booth. Now Murphy. It knocked away. Here's Peluso chasing after it. And to flip it in behind the goal. Clearing effort held in by Chelios as MacIver had trouble with Peluso. It's a centering pass, and Hudson looked to put it in front, but the goal knocked off the moorings. And the whistle sounds. Down to 5.5 minutes remaining in the third. We're tied at 3.
Taking a chance. It's in, gets the puck across to Mike Hudson, who's behind him. Hudson in too deep and couldn't finish. And Brown and Nichols then their sticks up at each other. 23 left, 3-3 games. Blackhawks have not had good success in this building over the years. In playoff competition, they're 1-7.
Here's the draw. Larmer into the corner, trying to center one. Goulet couldn't get any wood on that. And Chelios bounced one in behind the net. Goulet against Lowe. Now Goulet has room on the near side. His shot deflected by Lowe, back to center. And Steve Smith dumps it back in there. Lowe will get a rough ride from Larmer, but he put it around the boards. Larmer looking to steal behind the goal. I think it's up on the mesh. It is. And the whistle sounds, and there has been very little room for anybody to work here in the last couple of shifts.
I'll tell you what the Oilers have done. They put Kelly Buchberger on Roenick every shift in the second half of this game. They utilized Buchberger when Tikkanen was injured, especially against guys like Gretzky, and Buchberger has been all over Roenick. Meanwhile, Steve Larmer's tough enough doing battle against the enemy, but when you get clipped by your own player, down he goes. I should say Larmer's down, and then Mateau comes in and bang.
Rob Brown has a goal and an assist in this game, and he was certainly heartened by his dad's team, Campbell, winning the Memorial Cup. And he has certainly been a positive force in this game as far as the visiting team is concerned, hoping to help spark them to a victory. And he's picked up a couple of points with those efforts. The broadcast rights to this game have been granted to Sports Channel and WBBM Radio solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction or other use of this game without the consent of Sports Channel and BBM Radio in Chicago is prohibited. Here's the draw in the Edmonton zone, taken by Luke Richardson. Gave it to Tikkanen. Hammers one back into the Hawk zone, and Belfour plays it to Keith Brown. Brown sandwiched behind the net. Kravchuk tries to help. Puck comes loose. Kravchuk there. Flipped it for Rob Brown, and he's tied up by Richardson. They battle along the boards. Puck comes loose. Klima into the corner. Swept it over to the far side. Tikkanen and Kravchuk battling there. Now Klima jammed it loose for Maley. Keith Brown put the clamps on him. And Sutter got help from Mateau to push it back into the Oilers zone. Richardson will chase it down. 4 minutes left in period 3. 3-3 hockey game. Jeremy Roenick. One to the neutral zone. Dave Manson steps back over the line. Into the far corner. Chelios and Murphy there. So's Roenick, who kicks it loose. Goulet knocked down, but Roenick will bang it to center. Buchberger hoisting it back in. Chris Chelios works his way ahead and fires one into the Oilers zone. Banks one right into the slot, but Buchberger, great interference on Roenick to prevent him from getting there. McTavish sent flying by a big hit from Caluso, but Manson carried on. And Chelios stripped it away from him in a one-on-one confrontation. Greg McTavish has room over the Hawk line. Moving in, tried a backhand centering pass, but Belfour picked it off before Chalina could get to it. And the Hawk goaltender hanging on.
There hasn't been a shot on either goaltender in the longest time. We're stuck on 23 shots apiece. McTavish gets caught with his head down, and Caluso just nails him. McTavish with a spirited effort. He's been probably their best forward throughout this series.
3 minutes left. We are virtually into overtime now. Not necessarily, but a pretty good chance that whoever scores the next goal is going to win the game. Sutter and Nichols ready. kicks the draw to the line. Here's Muni's long shot up off the glass. And Sutter into the feed. Mateau, it hopped away from him. Keith Brown got to it. He does get it to Mateau, who scoops it ahead. Muni chasing into the corner. Wrapped up there by Craig Muni, who knocked him down. And Lowe feeds Joe Murphy up the right side. Murphy carries it over the Hawk line to Nickel. Crisscross into the slot, looking for down boost. Good coverage by Mateau, though, to break that up. And Stefan Mateau gave it to Noonan to center. His dump in didn't get through Richardson. And he winds up deep in the Hawk zone. Belfour out to the corner. Sweeps it around the boards, and Chelios gets a pick from Rob Brown to feed Noonan. Ryan Noonan lost the handle at center ice. And back into the Hawk zone it goes. Rob Brown on the left wing board. Lifted ahead. Here comes Roenick over the line. Tees up, shooting. Ranford on it off and made a save with the gloved hand. And now Tikkanen got it over to the far side. Rob Brown will keep it in. Bangs one in behind the net. It hopped away from Roenick. And the Oilers, Tikkanen looking to clear. Chelios doing well to keep it in. Now Larmer in the corner. Tries the center. It's picked off. Then Chelios kept it in there. A long wrist shot hit Brown. He turns, shoots. And Ranford might have just gotten a piece. Larmer in behind. Paddles it to the side of the net where he's knocked down. And the Oilers will take an icing call here as Roenick, Larmer, and Rob Brown with Smith and Chelios had Edmonton hemmed in their own end for quite some time.
And the Oilers getting away with some good clutching and grabbing, not allowing the Blackhawks to get really any good shots away, holding desperately as Rob Brown was able to get a shot away, and it just deflected wide. Roenick started things off with a long screen shot. There was a puck on edge, and Ranford fought it off. Rob Brown very nearly made it 4-3 with his shot. It just was wide of the near post.
Well, you mentioned the Hawks' lack of success in the playoffs here. We'll finish up in a moment.
Ranford 2 feet outside the crease, challenging the shot, and that shot, he just fought it off. Just knuckled towards him.
The Hawks are 1-7 in the playoffs in this building since Edmonton came into the league. But the Hawks on the road in this playoff have been outstanding. Here's Goulet with a wraparound. It deflects into the goal mouth, and the Oilers Jelena comes up with it. Clearing to center, Buckberger. Feeding low over the line. In on Kravchuk. Forced him into the corner and took him off the puck. In behind it, centered, and McTavish tried to stuff it in, and Belfour was hugging the far post. Craig McTavish almost worked another miracle for Edmonton.
Well, McTavish did a great job in front of his own net, tying up Brent Sutter so he couldn't get a rebound shot. Goulet with a wraparound attempt that went to Hudson. And then at the other end, McTavish coming late. Very nearly made it 4-3 Edmonton, so each team countering. McTavish tied up Sutter so that Jelena could counter. Now McTavish just speared Keith Brown.
Well, there's been a big gathering of players, and Kevin Lowe was the target. First, he and Brown had a problem. Then Lowe gave Goulet some stick work before Lowe is already on the Edmonton bench. He's gone, and everybody else is left to fight the battle. And Craig McTavish and Keith Brown were going back and forth with the lumber. And it appears we'll have coincidental penalties here. Goulet and Lowe appears if they will be the two.
It's McTavish and Keith Brown now. They would probably be sent off. McTavish is already in the box, and now Brown, who was on his own bench, is called over and sent over.
Finishing what I started to say, though, about the Hawks on the road. They're 1-7 here in the playoffs all time. During the regular season this year, the Hawks won only 13 games out of the 40 that they played on the road. But in the final month of the season, they were 5-1-1 in March away from home. They are 4-1 in the playoffs on the road to this point. So they're 9-2-1 in their most recent road games, even though the road record overall is not very impressive. In the late part of the year and here in the playoffs, the Hawks have been unbelievable away from home. Goulet is, you saw, was heading off toward the Hawk dressing room. As you mentioned, he took a stick right in the gut. Or did he get the penalty? It was Goulet and McTavish who were sent off for the coincidental minors. 62 seconds left in the third period. In a 3-3 game and a face-off to the left of Belfort. The draw, which Farmer got to the corner. Chelios has it there into the final minute of regulation time. Here's Brent Sutter. He'll dump it in, hoping for Roenick. Bounces right into the slot, but the Oilers able to knock it back into the corner. Sutter there. His pass hits the leg. Chelios held it into the corner. Mark Lamb able to pick it up for the Oilers. And Farmer and McIver just slugging one another behind the play. Back into the Hawk zone it goes. Smith against Mellenby. Smith put it around the board. Buchberger on the far side. Banks it in behind the net. Came loose to Buchberger in the corner. He centered Chelios. Able to pick that off and send Larmer to center ice. And he bounces one back into the Oilers zone. To Nichols. Rob Brown took it away. Here's Graham's first shift since the first part of the period. Graham dumps it in there, but the clock will run out, and we will have our first overtime game of this series. We have played 60 minutes in Edmonton. It's not enough. The Hawks and the Oilers are tied at 3.
So for the second time during the Stanley Cup playoffs of 1992, the Blackhawks will go to overtime. Of course, the other overtime game came during the St. Louis series in Game 3 when Brett Hull's winner in double overtime gave St. Louis a victory, so the Hawks will be looking for their first win in overtime as well. The goal that sent the thing into overtime came 7:13 into the third period. Brian Glynn just picks up the loose puck and fires it through a screen past Ed Belfour. Glynn's fourth goal of the playoffs tied the game up at 3-3, and that's where we stand at the end of regulation play in Edmonton. It's 3-3 between the Blackhawks and the Edmonton Oilers. The goal by Glynn was unassisted. Shots on goal through 60 minutes of play. It was an evenly played regulation. It shows in the shots on goal. 24 for the Hawks, 24 for the Oilers. We've got more coming up on this third intermission. It's tied up 3-3 between the Hawks and Oilers.
Did what Phil was doing, but we weren't going to let him know that. Look, if you want to work out, lift weights. Like a normal person, huh? Ride a bicycle.
Change the NBA. Don't miss the Rookies' first NBA championship. Enjoy all the battles with the legendary Larry Bird as they fight for the last shot.
Down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot is 12.
Call now to subscribe or renew. Get your free video plus 54 issues of SI, including the swimsuit issue, for only $1.29 an issue. Save over 55% off the cover price. For quicker delivery, use your credit card. The magic of Irvin Johnson will always be something special. Treasure it forever. And every week, enjoy all the emotion and drama of sports in Sports Illustrated.
Rock your house with Hawk Vision throughout the 1992 home playoffs. Bring the stadium home with you. Call your local cable company. If you have a satellite dish, call Primetime 24 at 1-800-248-2028. Be sure to call in advance or order by the round. Our next Hawk Vision game Sunday, and the Hawks and Oilers play Game 5 of the Campbell Conference Finals if necessary. Live from the stadium at 7 Sunday and 7:20 on WBBM. These two teams have never had an overtime playoff game. Both these teams this year have been in one overtime. Murphy scored a game winner against Vancouver in Game 1 of their final series against Vancouver. And the Blackhawks lost in double overtime to St. Louis.
24 shots for each team through the first 60 minutes of play. wonder they're not talking too much. Couple wearing opposing jerseys. Dirk Graham will start this overtime period. Dale, you mentioned it. He played the first shift in the third, then was apparently unavailable until the final few seconds was the next time we saw him. It appeared as if he might have had some sort of injury problem, but he has declared himself ready to go here, and he opens up with Sutter and Mateau. Nichols down Foose and Murphy for the Oilers. And this is the way it used to be when you were on the pond as a youngster and your folks wanted you to come in for dinner. Next goal wins. Here's Steve Smith. Give it to Chelios. Up the right side to Graham, putting Mateau to center. Mateau crisscrossing over the line. The wrist shot didn't get through McIver. Now Mateau behind the net. Out to the line, Smith. His long shot, and a save by Ranford. I think Graham may have redirected that. And Ranford, a huge save right in the early moments of extra time. Sutter shooting it in. Manson up the far side and down Foose. Sends it to the neutral zone. Now Chelio gets it into the Oiler end. Tees it up. Oh, then put it behind Roenick. Roenick looks to center, but it hits the leg to down Foose. Vincent down Foose. Streaking up the left side. Gets the line. Left it for Murphy, whose shot deflects into the corner. Now Foose looks to center one. Belfour got the goal stick in front of that. And Larmer the other way. To Chelios. Back to Larmer over the line. He tees it up. Shooting. Deflected up off the glass. Now Buchberger for Edmonton. Sends it deep into the Hawk zone. Chelios able to clear it back into the Oilers zone. And Kevin Lowe tried to play it but missed, and still it will be called icing against the Hawks. And now Lowe and Caluso having words. And the linesman there very quickly.
Well, Bill Ranford comes up big on that long shot. He was partially screened on it, just got a piece of it with the left pad. Good rush from Stefan Mateau. Mateau back to Steve Smith. Smith gets it past the top guy, and Ranford's able to kick it away, just getting a piece of it.
And Sutter, Graham, and Mateau are right back out there for the Blackhawks. So Ted Green will bring on Maile Tikkanen. Well, he was going to try to, and Bill McCreary said no. He was too late with a change. So Edmonton has McTavish, Buchberger, and Chelina on the ice. Here's the draw. Skipping free to center. Richardson lifting it back into the Hawk zone. Brent Sutter goes around the boards with it. Dirk Graham bursting it back to the near side, and Kravchuk pass stolen by Tikkanen. Back of the Hawk net it goes. And Graham able to get it out. Second chance, and Klima held this one in. Glenn, poke check by Kravchuk. And the Hawks there to head. Mateau feeding Graham. Back to Mateau over the line. He cuts in, shooting. Ranford with the right pad. Rebound to Kravchuk along the boards. Getting help from Mateau. Looking for Sutter to the backhand. Cuts in behind. Now the stop shot. What a save by Ranford. Rebound to the line. Keith Brown held it in. Shooting. And he shot it wide. Off the end boards. Here's a shot and a save by Ranford on Sutter. And Bill Ranford's three-game-saving stop. Here's Klima on the counter. His wrister deflecting up off the glass. And Roenick able to get away from Maile, and here comes Kravchuk. Getting over the Oiler line, a wrist shot. Blocked at the Edmonton defense by McIver. Now Goulet held it in. Got it around the board. Chelios centered one. They score! Hawks win! Jeremy Roenick tipped it in! Hawks win in overtime! JR gets the game-winning goal. A tough chance. A hot pass from along the board, which Roenick tipped in past a helpless Bill Ranford, and the Hawks swarm around Roenick. They lead the series now 3-0.
12 game-winning goals throughout the regular season for Jeremy Roenick. And he comes through in a big way. Chris Chelios, another marvelous performance. Hawks were swarming all through the overtime. Chelios gets in, whips it across, and tipped in by Jeremy Roenick past Ranford. Turnover in their own zone. Chelios pinches in, snaps it across to Roenick, who redirected, and over Ranford and in the net. An exhilarated Blackhawk team takes a 3-games-to-love lead against the Edmonton Oilers.
Jeremy Roenick's 9th goal of the playoff. Chelios and Goulet get the assist at 2:45 of overtime. 9 postseason goals for Roenick. And he received the pass from Chelios and redirected in a very tough chance. Chelios really fired that centering attempt. And the great hand-eye coordination of Roenick gives him his 2nd game winner of the playoffs and 9th overall in postseason play. And the Chicago Blackhawks are 1 win away from the Stanley Cup Finals as they exuberantly head toward the locker room. And the 3 stars being announced. Chelios and Roenick are stars. As well they should have been. And Craig McTavish given the game's first star. He did come through with a great performance for Edmonton, but it wasn't enough. Edmonton did not get a shot in overtime. They finished with a total of 24. 5 shots for the Hawks in under 3 minutes. Their total is 29 shots to finish up this hockey game. And the Chicago Blackhawks have now gone 5-1 on the road in the playoffs, and they are now 10-2-1 in their last 13 games away from home, dating back to the last month of regular season play.
10 straight wins for a franchise record.
And tying a league record for consecutive playoff victories in 1 year. The Hawks now equaling the legendary Boston Bruins teams of Phil Esposito and Bobby Orr, who won 10 straight in the playoffs. And tonight, the Hawks have achieved their 10th consecutive victory with some help from a guy who has to be awfully happy seated downstairs, Rob Brown. Chipped in a goal and an assist in this game. Robbie, your pop was a big part of the Memorial Cup win. How does this one feel for you?
Well, this is a huge win. I was excited to get a chance to play again. It was in front of my family. I had a lot of people here tonight, and I tell you, it was exciting scoring that goal and then having JR score the winner in OT. I tell you, it was a great feeling.
Rob Brown, you got to be congratulated for really keeping your composure. You've been a star player everywhere you've been, and all of a sudden you come to a franchise that really wants you to finish their checks, play more aggressively. You finally get an opportunity after sitting out. You really kept a positive attitude, and I think that's why you're getting some success now.
Well, I think the biggest thing is right here when the players aren't playing. There's about 12 of us that weren't playing, and we were always kept part of the team. We were never put down for not playing or never left out. Everyone on the team kept saying there's 33, 34 players here to win it, and we all stayed positive. We worked hard, and it was just a matter of each guy getting in and getting a chance to play. I think you've seen like 28 players in the lineup in the playoffs so far, so it goes to show you everyone has to contribute to win. And yeah, I tried to keep the beginning of the playoffs, I was down, I was upset, but then as they went on, I tried to get a positive attitude, and whenever I got a chance, I wanted to contribute.
Rob, you played a great first game in this series, the most physical I've seen you play, and throughout your career. And then all of a sudden, game 2, you're not in the lineup, and all of a sudden you're back in. What kind of an effect did that have on you?
Well, I was really upset for game 2. I thought I was going to play, and then I didn't. But that's the thing is I tried to stay positive, tried to see something good in it, and I went out and I worked hard, and I knew that we had a lot of games left before we won the Stanley Cup, and I wanted to be part of it. So I knew I'd get a chance sometime, and tonight, I was just happy to be out there contributing, and hopefully it'll carry over into next game.
Special teams, a big part of this victory, Rob, and you scored a power play goal to tie the game at 2-2. Talk us through it.
Well, Michel Goulet saw me. I was wide open. There was no one near me. He got the puck in the air, but we've been practicing that in practice a lot, trying to hit the puck out of the air, and it came across. I got a piece of it with my shaft, and it went in.
Well, you've got great hands. You tell me that you've been practicing that exact play. Well, that's fabulous, but I think it's just a matter of having great hand-eye coordination.
Thanks a lot, Dale.
Robbie, as I mentioned, special teams a big part of this victory. You're down 2-0 in the first period. You're shorthanded for 5 minutes, which carried over into the second. And the Oilers, as you all expected, came out roaring in the first period. When you went into that locker room trailing 2-0 at the end of 1, what sort of attitude was in that room?
Well, we were very upset with ourselves for coming out the way we did. We knew that Edmonton was a proud hockey team and they would come out strong, and we just weren't able to contend with it in the first. We didn't come out and play the way we had in the first 2 games. But I think we had a bit of positive in it because we had that 5-minute major we had to kill off, and we killed off 4 minutes of it before the period ended. So we felt that that was going to take us into the second. It was just a matter of time before we got on track, and when we did, I think we dominated for a while. But it seemed like a football game out there a lot of the time tonight. Every time you got the puck, you got tackled. But, you know, I think we had a lot of perseverance out there. And Jeremy Roenick, all night long, he's hounded, he's jumped on, they're holding him, and he comes through with the game winner. I just think that just goes to show you what type of team we have.
A type of team that has tied an NHL record with 10 straight wins. What's the magic number now?
Well, we got 5 more to go. 1 more this series, 4 the next. But I think Friday night's going to be a big game for us. We don't want to have to play another one come after Friday. We want it to end here, and I think we're going to come out stronger in the first period and hopefully have a great game.
Congratulations on a great effort tonight and being a positive factor even when your spirits might have been down a little bit, and keep up the good work.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay, that's Rob Brown, who chipped in with a goal and an assist in this game to help spark the Blackhawks to an overtime victory over the Edmonton Oilers. We'll be right back.
For your lotto numbers.
The Blackhawks now stand 1 win away from their first trip to the Stanley Cup Final since 1973. Our Old Spice play of the game, you guessed, the game winner. Great effort by Michel Goulet and a great effort by Chris Chelios. And the greatest effort of all by Jeremy Roenick. He scores the game winner. The Blackhawks win it over the Edmonton Oilers 4-3. And as for our Budweiser player of the game, we go with Rob Brown. He had a great game tonight. Was very aggressive, had a goal and assist. Now let's go back to Pat and Dale in Edmonton.
10 consecutive wins for the Blackhawks, tying an all-time NHL record for postseason victories, consecutive postseason wins, tying the 1970 squad of the Boston Bruins. And the Blackhawks will go for their 2nd consecutive sweep in a couple of nights from now on Friday night. But Dale, the Blackhawks really put behind the 8 ball. The second time, though, in this series, they have trailed in a game 2-0 and come back to win.
Well, this was a different circumstance than the last time, though. They dominated play and trailed 2-0 early in the first period of Game 2 because of Bill Ranford. Tonight they were down 2-0, weren't playing very well, took some bad penalties. They were down 2-0. Edmonton had a 5-minute power play, and that was a turning point in the game. Penalty killing turned the whole thing around. Then they came out and storming in the second period, tied it up on a couple of power plays of their own and took the lead, and then Glenn tied it up in the third period. Some great individual efforts tonight. I thought that Sutter, Mateau, and Dirk Graham were outstanding. They didn't figure in any of the scoring, but every time they were on the ice, they were dominant, and they really turned the momentum around with their forechecking and aggressive play. Chelios, another brilliant performance. Jeremy Roenick comes on and gets another game winner. It's a habit for him. 12 in the regular season, now 2 in the playoffs. But another guy, Rob Brown, outstanding after missing Game 2. Michel Goulet, I thought, had a very spirited effort as well, getting 2 assists, 2 very big points for him. So an all-around after the first period, but give their penalty killing credit for turning the momentum around.
Well, the winning goal comes under 3 minutes of extra time and a tough chance for Jeremy Roenick, but we've seen these great hands all year long.
Well, Jeremy Roenick is a battler, and Kravchuk in deep, and then Goulet puts it around the end boards. Goulet took Kravchuk's spot as Kravchuk went in, and then Chelios quickly snapped it across to Jeremy Roenick, who's got great hands, and he whipped it past, redirected it past Ranford, and the game-winning goal, and exhilaration shown by the Blackhawks. A tremendous win for the Blackhawk franchise, and they're up 3-0, and very good shape to go on to the finals.
Oh, lots of smiles in that group, as the Blackhawks really took the best shot I thought the Edmonton Oilers had. As you mentioned, the Oilers had a great start, and really failing on that 5-minute power play was a major negative as far as they were concerned. And Eddie Belfour, with the most work he's had so far in this series, and he came up with the saves at the key time.
He kept them in the first period because Edmonton really did have a great first period. Though he did allow 2 goals, they weren't his fault. He made some key saves in the second. Didn't have a lot of chances, only 4 shots, but he made 2 very big saves in that period and a couple of key saves in the third period. But the Blackhawks came storming out of the gate in the overtime. It's 5 shots at Ranford.